first pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams, quarterback, Southern California.
Down with PCP. Down with PCP. I'm actually thinking about doing fish and spaghetti.
Welcome in, gentlemen. How are we doing tonight?
Doing just lovely.
Let's go.
I'm a liar, though.
Hey, you know, Foster, the more and more I look at you, man, the more and more I look at Papa Smurf.
Oh, no. Why is that so spot on? Oh, no.
I'm telling you, man.
Steve,
That beard you
did
got
you
working.
see the shirt, too?
no.
I got the shirt. Did you see it? Do you remember seeing the shirt?
See it, man.
Papa Smurf shirt?
Oh, yeah. I got a red shirt. It says, they call me King Papa, and it's Papa Smurf. I wore it on one of the shows last year.
Oh, man,
I'll
I'm
pull it
telling
out
you, man.
again, man.
That's you, bro.
I'd hang one of those up on your wood paneling there.
That's after I fill another void back there, man. I'll get one up there. I do.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
Well,
gentlemen, how are we?
I want to let people in the chat know that Shorty is dealing with some stuff, so he may pop in, but he's not going to be here tonight as a regular. So, yeah, he's just dealing with some personal stuff that he had to take care of. So, pray for him. Pray for some, his family members, and that's all I want to say about that. If you want to expound upon that when he gets here, he can.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. Best wishes to Shorty and the fam. Well, gentlemen, I know we just talked backstage. We've got a couple different things we can talk about, primarily focused on OTAs. OTAs are well underway. I actually think that the first week is officially over. The first couple days this week were behind closed doors. And then Wednesday, we started to get some stuff to trickle out. And today has been the big day. I don't know if you guys have gotten a chance to listen to any of the interviews. The guys sound pretty relaxed, particularly DJ Moore. I'm really liking him as a team leader, and I'm glad that he's the head of our wide receiver room. I know you guys like to kick it off by saying hello to chat, and there's a bunch of people already in the chat. So if you guys want to go with that, I'm going to put some finishing touches. I will be right back.
All right. Starting off with Eric Harper. Welcome. Mark Kazak. Sorry to hear about your kitty dying this morning. Sorry about that. I know how animals can be very sentimental and close to like a family member to certain people. So again, my condolences to you for that. Doug Van Dorn. We have Antmus. We have Cliff Victoria.
The gang's here. Plank, Antmus, Mark Kazak,
Ouija,
DVD.
Foster Covers, Papa, aka Papa Smurf, Plank, King Buka World. I tell you, that King Buka World, I be seeing him everywhere. What's up, my man? Mr. Mayhem. Am I missing anybody? I think I got everybody. If I missed you, my apologies. But welcome all in the chat. Thank you guys for joining us on this beautiful Thursday evening, May the 23rd. Yesterday was my brother's birthday, so
Happy birthday to him.
Which brother?
Celis.
Yeah.
You're the one who came on the show a few times. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I could not remember his name for the life of me.
Yeah.
I like Marcel.
All the regulars are here in the chat tonight, though, so it's good to see you guys. It was Mark Kazak who had the unfortunate news. I'm very sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely never an easy thing. I feel that pain as well. So totally understand.
Yeah.
There was another
been able to
comment.
get a dog.
Oh,
My dog.
no dogs?
I always had one, and since my last dog passed, I just haven't been able to do it.
Yeah, it seemed like the older we get, because I remember my mom telling me this years ago, when the last dog she had passed. She's like, I just can't do it no more. I mean, so she didn't get no more dogs. She said because the loss of a dog, after you're getting older, you just can't take the pain no more. So you just do without.
Yeah, I've
Fortunately,
had conversations with coworkers, clients. When they get older, they kind of start to tell me like, "Oh, this is gonna be the last dog that I get." I'm like, "Oh, you already know that?" And they're like, "Yeah, I could barely get this last one, and it'll be tough at the end." So,
Oh
but
yeah,
you have to enjoy each and every single day. I know that firsthand. So,
yeah, very
Freaking
true.
polite way of saying I'm old, you guys.
Well,
no, you
I'm
still
just
got
saying,
plenty of
Foster,
time there, Papa Smurf.
you did play in preschool with Moses. Now
Wow,
I'm just saying,
low blow.
but true though.
No comment. No
freaking
comment.
feel like it.
Well, gentlemen, let me get our record prediction from last week up. I guess the most important here is going to be that right-hand column. That was our collective between all five of the talking heads here. But a 12-5 record still kind of feels rich. I don't know if you guys have changed your mind on anything. When I was formatting this, it kind of is funny how there's no collective one singular thought aside from the Panthers. We all agree that will be a win. But even like the 49ers, I think they could win that game. Oh, there's the Vikings game as well. So I'm wrong there. And the Patriots game. So actually, we're a little bit more level-headed maybe than I thought at first.
Even on the Panthers game, I mean, as far as losses go, I guess there's no one team that we really consensus on that we're going to lose on, except
Now,
maybe.
well, will I be surprised if we lose to the 49ers? Not at all. But
Well, my thing is this. I mean, I think the fact that we don't know exactly what we have yet. I mean, don't know how the guys blending, don't know how the guys performing. That's why I really wanted to start off low, being the 8 wins. I'm like, until you can see something building. I mean, I don't want to be that guy like last year where we have these high expectations and get let down. This year, start off low. By the end of preseason, and I'm seeing something there. I'm like, you know what? Okay, maybe I can now up my because we're going to do another uh, record prediction before the start of the season. So I anticipate my number personally to go up if things go well in the preseason.
yeah, I mean, I think that you are very spot on in the sense that this team shouldn't have expectations, but in the same breath, it's so hard. You just load it up on offense. You have to assume that your 2 top 10 picks are going to be very big contributors. You had your defense that came on real strong with the Tez effect. So it's hard to tight walk that line. And if we're being honest here, I'm the one who's most in the middle. We've got the high end of the spectrum, Shorty, thinking that there's going to be a 13-win football team at hand.
Right.
And PJ on the flip side, of course, Mr. Contrarian thinks that PJ, you're the only human in this podcast. Just kidding. There's going to be a lot of people who think this way too. But out of the 5, our very large sample size, quote unquote, you're the only one who thinks that we're going to have a losing record.
Like I said, starting off low.
Yeah. I think that this is going to be a good way to kind of get your feet wet, so to speak, with the team and warm you up with the OTAs. Because you always like to say, show me what you got. Well, they're in the process of showing us. We're not getting a lot, but I'm going to do my best here to try and get some clips on the screen for us from Mr. Caleb Williams. And I don't know, PJ, have you seen any of them?
Yes.
Any of these clips?
I see. I mean, I've always said, he's the most talented quarterback in the draft, hands down. I never argue that point. I've seen it. I think he should do well. I mean, he's going to have his rookie lumps, of course, but he should. I think he should do well, especially seeing as though what was the report I heard that they with those 3 hours of Zoom that they had pre-draft, they installed the not installed, but gave him the verbiage, was giving him the verbiage for the call, the how to call the plays and give him a head start that way. So that should be nothing but good for him.
Yeah, they kind of got ahead of the game, so to speak. They didn't have to, DJ Moore pointed this out in his press conference. He said we had to tiptoe along the lines or essentially play the game where we didn't know who we were taking, but we knew who we were taking. And the Bears definitely took advantage with every moment that they could, especially that 3 hours on the call to just try and acclimate Mr. Caleb Williams. Just want to address Mark real quick. My thought process there is that I kind of like what PJ says, where you got to show it to me. I'll believe it when I see it with the Packers. And I had this prediction last year for the season where I think that we lose to Green Bay to start just because maybe they're the hotter team / the Bears are not fully proven yet. I think that Green Bay game is, in fact, the first home game. Or sorry, division game. Yeah. They start off the year for our gauntlet with the division. It's all lumped in the second half. So I think that that's a game that the Green Bay Packers could steal, of course. But then as we go along and end the season after we've gotten our, iron sharpens iron moments, I think that we can get a win. And I'm not the only one, apparently. But yeah, let me see if I can try and get some videos for you guys, because his release, everyone talks about Caleb Williams' release, and just seeing it in a Bears uniform is almost surreal for me, because there was a moment, his first game of the year this year, I just could not believe that this player would be one day a Chicago Bear. So let me see if I can share my screen here. Foster, we haven't heard much from you. What have you taken from OTAs up to this point?
I actually finally sat down about 10 minutes before we talked, guys, so I haven't seen anything this whole week. I've been just busy. I really haven't looked at anything, unfortunately. I haven't.
It's no right.
I don't want to say anything. The other thing I was going to say is there's a couple games in there that I got on when we had the schedule up where, like, I could see us beating Green Bay in, late in when we finally do play them. I forgot what week that is, but I could see that as a win. I could see us beating
week 18.
Seattle.
Yeah, week 11 and week 18.
No, I'm talking about the first one. 11, week 11. Because that's the first game that we play, like you said, within our division. Is week 11. So I could see us. I could see us win. I could see flip-flopping that. I think I'd like
to. I need to get the dates on here too for next time. Go ahead.
I got us losing at home and winning in Green Bay myself. So I don't know. That was just the way it felt. So, but other than that, I have not been able to see anything. So you're going to be showing me some stuff, and it's going to be the first time I'm seeing it.
Awesome. Well, that's going to be a lot of fun. So, as I was saying with Caleb Williams' release, here we go. I hope you guys just look at the way that he contorts his body, and then I forgot what I called him on Twitter the other day. Geraldo at large. That's Gerald Everett. The way that he just gets himself up there and just makes the contorted catch.
I'm really impressed with Gerald Everett's catch there.
Yeah. This is poetry, man. And I believe that's over Spidey, Kyler Gordon as well.
Yeah.
I'll let it loop one more time. But I know that the practices can sometimes not be scripted, but what I think the coaching staff likes to do is essentially they'll have one day where it's the offense is going to be tailored to have the bigger plays, the way they call the plays, whatever, just to see if they can execute. And then it's flip-flop. They're going to have the defense knowing exactly what's coming, have them have the better day, so to speak. And I think that's exactly what happened today. I know that Kevin Byard talked about how Caleb struggled a little bit today. And again, could just boil down to how the schedule or practice was scheduled. But he said that days like that will make Caleb Williams better. And I would have to hope that seeing an NFL defense for, I guess, the first time is going to ultimately, hopefully, make him a better player.
Yeah. For me, I think the first thing I got out of that clip, well, my thoughts was, I hope Everett is much more of a weapon than what that guy from Green Bay we had last year.
Tonyan, yeah.
Robert Tonyan. Oh my goodness. I thought he played well in Green Bay, Tonyan that is, and came here and didn't do anything. I am truly hoping that Everett is that guy for us. I mean, as far as if he can get 40 catches, I'm happy with that. 40 to 50 catches, I'm happy with that. Because what Tonyan gave us, especially that big drop in the Cleveland game, Foster?
Yeah, thanks. I don't remember. Yeah. That was heartbreaking, man.
Yeah.
You can't have those moments against a huge football team like that too, because the Bears had not a big lead, but they had a lead for the entire game. But maybe if he catches that ball, and I'm almost positive that would have been a touchdown 100% of the time, I think you put that Cleveland team away in that moment. So
here's the thing: there was too much of that last year. We all know what the Chargers right off the bat with. I mean, there's too many games like that. I was high on Everett to begin with, man. I know the guy's solid, man. Know he's better than Tonyan. Hopefully, though, because see, Pete, here was the problem too last year. How much of Tonyan did we see? He wasn't out there because of just what was going on with the offense. So you couldn't.
Yeah, that seemed like they misused him. Yeah,
absolutely.
For him to be Getsy's guy,
to his strengths most of the season.
Yeah,
but Everett is a guy, and I liked him since the last year he was in college coming out. I liked him, man. I always just that's good pickup. You saw his athleticism. I did see a bunch of Caleb's releases earlier, man, when they were showing stuff from college, and I if that's new footage, because I don't recognize seeing it. So yeah, absolutely.
The footage that I showed,
yeah,
that was from Wednesday, I believe.
Okay,
so yeah, brand new.
I didn't see it because I'm sure I would have said something. There's my guy Everett, because I was really high when we got him. I was like, that's a thing. And then the key is what's around him and what are we going to be able to run and I'm so much sure Waldron's systems, he's not going to run what we saw last year with,
Who's around him? Caleb?
Well, no, who's around? I mean, it affects everybody. Who's where doing what with their position. If they're working right, maybe Tonyan gets things are different last year if that offensive line is different, is what I'm saying. But I think the big thing with Everett's another upgrade. So he's a better player in my opinion than Tonyan. And
I'm not going to go digging.
It just should give him more opportunities than Tonyan got last year. And hopefully Everett is who we thought Tonyan was going to be last year and even better.
Right. Yeah, that would be a big upgrade just in itself. I was going to say I'm not going to go digging for it, but I found in the past someone had tweeted out something. It was a comparison of the players that left this year and that the Bears brought in, and it was like 5-6 names, and almost every single one of them was a clear upgrade.
Right.
Statistically, in your mind, the eye test, it was just a clear-cut upgrade. Yeah. So in that sense, I absolutely agree with you. It is what's around just the whole team. But I will stand pat and stay that a young Patrick Mahomes who came into a good situation, became a good player, and he was a good player. And this past year, he had a terrible group of wide receivers. Not the worst in the world because they were good enough to win a Super Bowl. But I think we can all agree that Mahomes is the reason why they won that Super Bowl, and the defense. But Mahomes is able to elevate the play around him. And I hope that Caleb Williams can get to that point sooner rather than later, especially if it's possibly this season.
Well, I think that's the challenge. There has been maybe one quarterback that I can truly think of in the history of the NFL, their rookie year, that really elevated everyone else, that being Dan Marino. I think all the other quarterbacks, they had help around them to help them to where it wasn't all on them. And then eventually in their careers, be it the second, third, or fourth year, they were able to take it on. But that first year, it was, I think Dan Marino's the only one that I can remember that actually performed great his rookie year as far as carrying the team on his back.
I'll call you lucky because I didn't get the pleasure of getting to watch Dan Marino in the flesh, not in the flesh, but live. I can go back and try and scour up some footage, but I don't think I'd appreciate it the same nowadays.
If I remember correctly, I think he's the only one that he was a rookie and went to the Super Bowl. Am I right, Foster? Man, Dan Marino went to the Super Bowl his rookie year.
Marino never won a Super Bowl. I was under the impression that he never went to a Super Bowl.
Oh, I think he went his rookie year. If not his rookie year, it was his second year. But I thought it was his rookie year.
I'm blanking. Had some damn good offenses.
Yeah.
In Miami there. What about Roethlisberger? I know
Did he elevate the team around him? He was the one who had to come in for an injured player.
Question. It's kind of an answer question because I can't be sure. I don't remember. That was so long ago, man.
Yeah, I thought it was his second year.
It was the second year that they won the Super Bowl, right? Because what happened was he came in for an injured quarterback. I forgot the name already. But they did go deep into the playoffs, but I believe they lost to either Denver or the Patriots.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're correct.
Yep.
Actually, it was a 16-game season back then. Did Roethlisberger go 15-0? That would be crazy.
James Ford confirmed Dan Marino did go to the Super Bowl his rookie year and never went back.
Thank you, James.
Yeah. And he never went back.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, so beyond him, that's what I'm saying. So I'm not placing that hefty expectation on Caleb. I mean, I just want him to, be good enough to where, we can have a good team and, build sustained success.
Sustained?
Yes, sustained. Yeah.
So what happened with Roethlisberger, it appears that he was 13-0 in his first year, which that doesn't make sense to me. Maybe he came in and he did go like 15-0 as a team, but he didn't start some games because they had something clinched.
No, I think if I'm trying to remember, like you said, he came in and replaced somebody else. So the games he actually started, 13 of them, he won all of them.
No, the Steelers finished the season in 2004 at 15-1. So
somebody
again,
another quarterback must have been 2-1.
I think it may, because I'm looking at Pro Football Reference, so I don't know if they're saying that it doesn't count because he didn't play a certain number of snaps or quarters, or if he truly didn't start the last two games. Whatever the case is, I think the point was that Roethlisberger was a young quarterback who tried to elevate the team around him. I think that Steelers team is very good. Obviously, the next following year, they won the Super Bowl. And I remember some very good football players. They had Hines Ward. They had Antoine Randall L. And then they had a good running back who I will defend, Willie Parker. Jerome Bettis, of course, he retired after winning it in his home state of Detroit, or state of Michigan in Detroit. Yeah, right on cue, Don Burr. Thank you very much. But yeah, I think the most direct comparison and the comparison that Caleb will ultimately have to kind of live with as a member of the Bears is against CJ Stroud, because CJ Stroud definitely elevated the play of his wide receivers and team last year. I know even as a Michigan fan, a lot of you didn't know who it's not Tank Dell, it's the other guy. I can't even think of his name right now. I'm drawing a blank. That's how irrelevant, quote unquote, he was. But
for the
Houston Texans, their number one wide receiver out of Michigan. He was a third round.
Was it Collins?
No. Wait, maybe. Let me see if I can find it for us real quick. But anyway,
Nico Collins, underrated.
Nico Collins. It was Nico Collins. Thank you very much.
Underrated player, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, my brain works half the time here. I'm telling you.
And
my brain doesn't work at all.
Texans did help CJ immediately. They made some moves. They made that trade and grabbed the receiver. They upgraded a couple people in defense.
Last year?
Bears are doing, man. Yeah, last year. Go back and look at what they had. Who was the kid out of USC that was quarterback? And I actually had him going to the Bears the year we drafted Fields, but I had him taking him like the third round. So they upgraded a few positions there that they needed to, if you look. And they had a couple
going into last year?
Going into last year when they drafted CJ Stroud second.
I mean, they scraped up Robert Woods, if that's the player that you're referring to.
No. That's just another, it's an upgraded placeholder. That's kind of what Foles is doing here. These guys, if you look every year, they're kind of just placeholders. That's why they're 1 and 2 year contracts. And
my
he's
point
always
was just
looking to upgrade. Go ahead.
Yeah, my point was just that CJ Stroud, I think, really elevated that roster around him, whether we think the players are good now or not. They ended up going from the 2nd overall pick, which should have been the 1st overall pick, to the playoffs. And that, I think, falls straight on the quarterback. And because the Bears chose to trade away the 2023, or was it the 2022 1st overall pick, and pass on CJ Stroud, I think that will be a player that Caleb Williams is directly compared to forever. At least as far as the Bears go.
Highly possible.
Well, let me get back at it here. I've got another clip of Caleb Williams for you guys. Let me see if I can get this on the screen for us. So as you can see, again, it's just going to be more poetry in motion with this guy. His release is so fast. This is DJ Moore who's catching the ball. Obviously, he could take a lick here at any moment, but they're not going to. But you love to see the effort from all the guys. You can see, again, this is from Wednesday. I see Brisker, Stevenson, TJ Edwards, I think Sanborn. I'll get a list of players who haven't shown up to camp, OTAs rather, so far.
Let me make a real comparison without everybody getting upset. Show that clip again. And I'm looking at Caleb Williams' release there.
And you're going to tell us to not get upset?
Yeah, about the comment I'm ready to make. Now watch this release.
All right, I'll hover. Let me know if you need me to pause.
All right. Ooh, that was fast. That was too fast. Can you slow? Yeah, can you keep it going slow motion? So
I'll see if I can change the speed. I don't know if it'll let me. You can see. Oh, okay. PJ knows what's going on. Okay, here we go. This is as slow as it gets. I can't go any slower even if I wanted to.
Okay.
We could also pause and look at Bajan's arms, but Mr. Shortino's not here today, so we don't have to do about that.
Yeah.
See that? Stop. Pause. Ooh. You see what I'm looking at, Foster?
Yeah.
I know what you're gonna say.
So the point I'm making is,
are you talking about that?
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that loop that everybody complained about our last quarterback had. That long elongated throw.
Okay, hold on. Let me show something real quick. This, I'm gonna change it back. Everyone can see exactly what I'm seeing. This is gonna be at full speed, okay?
Okay.
Clearly not at full speed. This is a slow motion clip to begin with, and then I slowed it down 20 to 25% of the actual speed.
Right.
You think that that's slow?
No, I'm saying the long, elongated throwing motion is what people complained about. That's elongated throwing motion as well. Again, I think he's a good quarterback. I've never said otherwise. The point I'm trying to make is when others was making a big deal about that, that's what I'm saying. We pay too much attention to the elongated passing. That's what quarterbacks do.
I mean, I could find you a clip of Tom Brady. I think that this wind-up motion, I can get a direct comparison maybe to Fields. I'll do my best. But I don't know, man. I think that this is rapid. I think that this goes into the Aaron Rodgers quick release category.
I think he has a nice arm. I mean, I'm not denying none of that. I'm just making a point of the elongated motion. That's all. That's it.
Chat wants to know if this is a long or short pass. Unfortunately, you guys have the exact same information as me. So I'm assuming that if I am seeing the linebackers, this is probably a 20-yard pass. Yeah. Maybe it's only 15.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
But because I guess it's really hard to tell without the offensive lineman, man. I mean, do we get any sort of field markers whatsoever? No, it's just grass. There's some lines, but there's no 20. There's nothing. I would say that this is probably somewhere between a 15 and 20-yard pass. Yeah. So
safe
if
to assume.
Plank is saying that explains the windup then as well, which is it's not a quick out, it's not a screen. This is a comeback. DJ Moore is on his way back to the football. I don't want to play the audio. I don't think you guys can hear it either way. But he's already came back. His feet are facing the quarterback, so my guess is it's a 15 to 20-yard pass. Several release points. That's very true as well from Mr. Brian Gilmore.
You know what I do like what the Bears is doing right now?
What's that?
Is they're putting DJ in the leadership role, having him out there talking to the media, and had him play the Ferris Bueller on the short clip starting with the Bears, that quote unquote movie they had. So I like that they're getting him involved, because I was concerned that he would probably be on the fringes and possibly on his way out the door. But seem like they're trying to bring him in and have him feel a part of this team, to where he's really buying into Caleb, and that's good to see.
DJ Moore was brought in via trade last year, so I think it would have been silly to immediately make him a team captain as someone who, I don't even know if DJ Moore has made a Pro Bowl. He's been snubbed, of course. But I agree with you, PJ. I think now is the time when you have a huge face of the franchise Fields, whether you like it or not. That's what he was. Once he leaves, it's time to not, clean house, but you got to just do a little bit of a shifting of the feet. Obviously, Cole Kmet got his contract extension, so he's going to be a player that they want to kind of flaunt, especially as a known Bears fan. But I agree with you. DJ Moore is probably the face of this offense. I think that the offense would be severely hurt by a Keenan Allen injury, a Tevin Jenkins injury. But if you lose DJ Moore, I don't care what you have in the wide receiver room. That's a huge loss, and the team is not the same at that point.
I was listening to Courtney Cornyn. Is that her? What's her name?
Cronin.
Okay. She made a take of that. She believes that the two wide receivers is going to eat basically, and the third one's probably going to be left out. And I'm of the belief, like DJ Moore has said, he said, look, it's a race to whoever wins, the first one to 1,000. So it's a healthy competition. I don't want us to be like, oh, just let the top two eat and then the other third one fit in where he can. No, get them all involved, because that's one thing DJ said in the interview I heard today. I don't know when it was. It probably was yesterday.
It was today.
It was today. Okay. He said
Moore,
that everybody is getting involved. And that's all I ever want for my offense. Get all my weapons involved, to where one person can't be keyed on. Get everybody involved.
I want all five of them catching passes, man, fighting for yards. All five of them. I could throw running backs in too. I want them guys catching the ball and
absolutely
digging for yards too, man. So
it would be stupid to design your offense around one or two players. I think that's why Shane Waldron probably was a big contributor, at the very least, to Rome Odunze being selected at 9th overall, because he's familiar with either a 3 wide receiver, and he's known to even use 3 tight ends. So if he can get the entire offense involved, if someone goes down, it's not the end of the world, and it's a lot harder to cover, scheme that way. Because you can go into a game, and a lot of teams did this, probably saying, okay, we're going to take away, maybe Randy Moss is not the best name to say because he got double covered and still put up however many touchdowns that one year. But if you want to take away one person, the Bears should be able to identify that, say, okay, DJ Moore, double covered, can't throw to him, let's go Keenan Allen. Okay, you've got both our, double coverage over the top with cover 2. You got both our wide receivers on the outside taken away. Let's go in the slot to Rome, or up the seam to a tight end. Or, okay, we'll just dump it off to a running back and let him do our magic. So that's the key. That's the best way to develop your offense, is everyone.
Absolutely agree.
Well, let me get another clip in front of you guys. I've got this.
While you're doing that, let me I'll let you chat real quick. Jay Grizz, welcome aboard. Brian Gilmore, Plank. Who else? Anybody else sneak in here without me seeing them? AC Adam, I believe.
Get him.
Don Burr. I think I got everybody up to date there. Everybody
We got
else.
Brian Gilmore.
Yeah, James Ford. I did say Squeegee. Ron Winarski.
Right.
And Squeegee makes the rounds too. I know that you made a comment about how you see someone essentially everywhere in the
King
YouTube
Buka
world.
right?
But King Buka. But Squeegee definitely, I see him everywhere.
So yeah, guys, thank you guys for
as
joining
we
us.
go- I was gonna say a lot of these guys as time goes on, because when I wasn't so damn busy, I was looking at everything, man. And a lot of these guys, they are Bears fans, die hard, because if there's a Bears thing, you'll see them on it.
Exactly.
I'm amazed.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Special
oh man,
shout out.
I'm watching too much shit because I see them all over the place.
Yeah, that's just how it goes. The Bears community, they're spread wide. That sounded no diddy. Special shout out here to VHS, aka Doug Van Doren. He says that when Claypool busted us last year, Getsy simply stopped using his primary sets and crippled the offense by not using any wide receivers except for DJ. We can get into it in a bit. We'll talk about Justin Fields, but I do think that the primary issue was Justin Fields being a one-read quarterback. But I also do think, because when we were doing a predictions video, me and Nick last year, we were talking about, okay, we know that DJ Moore is going to do good, but who's the other wide receiver who's going to do good? And we almost had a debate on, do you have to extend Darnell Mooney or Chase Claypool? We just immediately assumed, because of their pedigree, that they'd be a 1,000-yard receiver. Well, neither of them were, and both of them are gone. So I think that was going back to that graphic that I mentioned earlier. Very clear, obvious upgrade at both positions. I think that no matter how you slice it, Rome Odunze better than Chase Claypool. Keenan Allen better than Darnell Mooney. So again, it just goes back that way.
If we're being honest, though, the Bears did try to re-sign Mooney. I mean, they offered him a 3-year, $30 million contract. He turned it down, and good for him. He got a 3-year, $39 million contract from Atlanta. So, hey, wish him well, man. Good luck to you, bro.
Yep.
Yeah, and hopefully that contributes to them losing a first-round pick for their collusion, whatever you want to call it. And it comes down to, I don't know who in the community coined it as the Bears having the 31st and the 32nd overall picks, the 31st being their Super Bowl win, and the 32nd being
Adam
the
Mason did
first overall. It sounds like Adam Mason. I wouldn't put it past him. But that would be the best back-to-back first-round picks in NFL history. Let me get this clip in front of you guys for Kyler Gordon. Give some love to the defense. Today, Thursday, was the day that the defense particularly seemed to have a very good day. As you can see, we've got Kyler Gordon dropping back into coverage. Beautiful orange accents, may I add, and the finger roll to boot as well. So,
well, like DJ Moore said, they have been playing in the system for 3 years now.
The defense or the offense?
Yes, the defense. So they should have won.
Yeah, and I don't see any blue shirts here. This is definitely a scripted drill. They're just giving us whatever. It was.
Well, you see who he's guarding. He's guarding Stevenson, isn't he?
Yeah, more than likely, yes. That's a beautiful shot, by the way. I may add. Shout out to the Bears special team or media team. Look at that train behind him. That's just an awesome shot.
Yeah,
I love that.
Oh, Blackwell, my fault.
Josh Blackwell. Yeah, I'm slacking. I need to get the roster in front of you guys. Because when you see the names in front of you, even like a Josh Blackwell as your 5th or 6th corner, this team really has everything that they need, in my opinion. You can debate. We'll talk about it. The defensive line is a little light, but there's some names that I'll try and pound the table for here. As long as they pan out, and obviously I just mentioned what happened last year with the wide receiver room. If these guys pan out, man, the sky really is the limit.
Well, I mean, I'm not as optimistic as you are regarding the roster. I think we still have some holes to where we get an injury, we're in trouble. But for the most part, yeah, I mean, I think, well, the point about the jerseys here, this is the first year. Now, you, Foster, correct me if I'm wrong. I've never remember seeing players' names on these practice jerseys before. I always saw numbers. I've never seen the names.
Yeah, I mean,
I remember names.
Yeah,
I think the last few years, maybe it's just a Ryan Poles thing, but I remember seeing the names.
Okay, I've never seen that before. or never remember seeing it.
Man, I can't believe I'm not prepared for this.
I just thought here I got to say it though because you said 31 and 32 could be the best. It would actually be the first and the second round. But how about
technically right?
How about Butkus and Sayers in the first round? So 2 Hall of Famers.
Were they back to back? Were they back to back?
They were back to back. No,
Were they?
I don't think so, man.
I thought it was 4 and 6. Okay.
Oh, maybe you're right.
It was Butkus and Sayers.
Now I gotta look. Butkus and Sayers picks. I gotta look.
Okay, Brian, I'm gonna star that chat. We'll get to that in just a second here, guys. Sorry, I'm not prepared. I apologize. And my ad blocker's not letting me actually see this. I just see the pictures. I can't find the actual pick. I don't know, man. I'm gonna find it here real soon. This is from the Chicago
Bears themselves, Carl. Bears choose Butkus and Sayers back to back. 1965.
Oh wow, okay.
Their picks were back to back. The player selections go, and I quote, wait, you are right. So
4 and 5, right?
3 and 4.
3 and 4.
So
okay.
The Bears selected Gale Sayers at 4 with their own pick, and it says that the Bears acquired the 3rd overall pick from the Pittsburgh Steelers to select Dick Butkus. Well, I think you've got me beat there. That completely shuts down my argument, in my opinion. I don't think that you're going to be getting a Hall of Fame linebacker paired with probably would be the best ever running back in Chicago Bears history if you didn't have literally the greatest running back ever in the NFL history.
Well, they're both Hall of Famers, for sure.
He still could have been the best ever if the 49ers didn't go after him and literally destroy his knees on purpose. And he came back from an injury that back then you never came back. And he continued to get 1,000 yards, but he didn't have those 40-yard gallops. It was 6-11 yards at a time he did. So just his gut and determination was something else.
Kansas Comet.
It could be this. This could be the greatest back-to-back second round picks ever in the history of the NFL, because I don't know if it's ever happened before. Because that pick, even though it would be 32, is technically a second round pick if they take the.
That's real.
So hey, give us 2 Hall of Famers. I don't care what if we get 2 Hall of Famers, then we've got another draft to put up there with that one.
Well, let's just hope the 2 that we got in the first round this year turn out to be Hall of Famers.
Yep. That is.
Yeah. I would totally agree. The quarterback has the best chance out of all of them, of course. And the wide receiver would have a little bit of work to do, but it's very possible, to say the least. Well, I still haven't gotten it. I had to take care of chat. I don't know. Maybe give me some time to sort my stuff out. If we want to talk about the first day of OTAs for Justin Fields yet or not. Or if we want to continue this Gale Sayers talk.
Gale Sayers. I love this quote of all I need is 6 inches of daylight.
Yep.
Still, best quote ever. Just give me 6 inches of daylight. That's impressive.
Yeah. If you had speed back then, which Gale Sayers obviously did, the Kansas Common, I think is what his nickname was. You really had to step up in the game.
Yeah. So that's the reason why I became a Bears fan. Gale Sayers and Dick Butkus.
That's a fun little tidbit.
Yeah, those are 2 damn good reasons.
Hey, Hall of Famers, buddy.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid watching Brian's song.
Oh yeah.
With Billy D. Williams and James Caan.
Yep. I think I was like 6 years old, dude. 5 or 6.
Okay.
72. Go ahead, Carl. Sorry.
I was just gonna say a little bit over my head. I have no idea, but I'm gonna have to take your word on that one for that.
Sorry for doing that to you, man. But that's what happens when you get old fucks around.
Oh, I stand corrected. James Ford said it was 18 inches of daylight. I said 6. Yeah. He said 18. Okay. Right. All right. I'll take that. 18 inches.
6 inches on the mind. No Diddy. I see how it is.
He's not here.
Man.
Are you talking from experience now, Foster?
Yeah. No. Man, I need to go to sleep or something on you guys.
Well, that's the
That
thing
sounds
about
terrible.
that's
That's
the
fucking,
thing
you know
about
what?
Peyton and Sayers. They were different type of backs. Uh, they Sayers was more of the finesse, speed, jukey sort of guy. Peyton, man, he had some sweetness to him, but he also a thump you. So yeah, just
Every time.
if you for you old timers out there, Doug Van Dorn, you probably wouldn't have watched him play, but you probably heard of him. Willie Gallimore. When I look
Oh,
at
yeah.
the tape of Willie Gallimore, Gale Sayers reminds me so much of him. So much so that when I saw him, I thought he was Gale Sayers. But Willie Gallimore, that's why Bears don't no one on the Bears wears 28 no more because they retired the number 28 for Willie Gallimore. He died, I believe, in a car accident.
Yeah.
But oh man, he was Gale
Willie the
Sayers.
Wisp.
I'm telling you, he was pretty special.
I've seen all those. I mention it to younger Bear fans all the time, and they have no concept, and I get it. And I just tell them, go on YouTube and just go on YouTube and find Willie the Wisp. All you have to do is put Willie the Wisp or Willie Gallimore. But if you put Willie the Wisp, anything you can see on him will come up, and you'll go,
man. He was nice.
It's just like I can't even remember the guy before Jim Brown on Cleveland. That's another running back, and the guy.
The train. Night.
3 great running backs in a row on the Cleveland Browns, and nobody knows the other 2 guys' names. Man, I can't remember. But
because he went to Syracuse before Brown too.
Yep.
Willie Night Train, was it?
No, you're thinking of the old Cardinals and Lions guy, Dick Night Train Lane.
Okay. Oh,
he was the guy was the prototypical cornerback for what there is today. Okay. Dick Night Train Lane in the 50s. He is what every cornerback aspires to be today because he could do everything on that field.
But I think Brown, he wore the guy was number 44 if I remember correctly. No, he was 32.
Jim Brown was 32. I think the guy after was 44, and I want to say the guy before him was like 72 or something. He had an odd number, but he was a great back.
I know Floyd.
Just so because nobody knows. Nobody
was one after Brown. I think Floyd was one after Brown. The one before him, I forgot his name. Yeah,
they were both great, dude. I mean, I'm just going on footage, and then even interviews with them, and interviews with Jim Brown and Paul Brown, and I'm sorry to go off on a Cleveland Brown thing here, guys, but little history.
But yeah, they had a good run of running backs there. I mean, that's the thing. Bears was always known for linebackers and running backs. For a while there, Cleveland Brown, they was known for some running backs.
That's interesting. So you said that one of these players that was a really good running back before Jim Brown went to the same school as Jim Brown?
Yeah, because Jim Brown came after he did.
How does that happen? I don't know if you know the exact time frame. I'm seeing a Marion Motley, a Mike Pruitt, and a Leroy Kelly.
Leroy Kelly. He came after Leroy Kelly did.
Jim Brown was 1957 to 1965. So before the 50s would have been, it appears to be Motley. Yeah, 46 to 53.
It's Motley, Brown, and who was the other guy? Leroy Kelly.
Kelly
was probably after. Kelly was 64 to 73.
Yeah, yep. Right. Those Kelly actually. Those 3 guys are just
Davis.
He was one of Syracuse quarterbacks, dude, because they just had it. They had it from 1949 to whatever with those running backs. 30 years. You know what I mean? 30
Adam. AC Adam got it. Ernie Davis. He was the running back at Syracuse before Jim Brown. Ernie Davis.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's a special thing. I like when because I feel like the Bears have done this, not to that extent, but the Bears have always had good running backs, like you said. Yep. But even in the modern day, just in my, we'll call it the Carl time frame of watching, just right at the 2005 season, Start with Thomas
Okay.
Jones, little tiny lull. Then you go into Matt Forte. Then you have Jordan Howard was good. I like Tariq Cohen. And who am I missing just recently? I mean, Herbert's not a superstar standout, but I feel like they always have a decent enough running back. Thank you. Yes. So they always have just a really good running back. They haven't had a standout in a while, and that's just the nature of the position. But
that goes back. I'll say it again. That goes back to Hallis because it was get the running back. If you go back and you look at all the teams going all the way back, play great defense and get the running back and pound the ball, man.
Yeah, I wish the NFL could.
He was never ever big on getting a quarterback and developing ever. If you even go back and look, a lot of times, a lot of our quarterbacks were guys that were somewhere else that played decent enough to win.
That'd be the challenge.
Some things never change.
If we can ever get to the point where we can start developing quarterbacks, that'd really be nice. I mean, hopefully, if Caleb has a good run here, by his 5th year or so, start bringing in a quarterback every 3 years or so to develop, build them up, trade them off if you have to, but get that thing started, because to me, you need to have sustained success before you can call yourself trying to build. I mean, it's always going to be tough on the first one. Caleb being the first one that they're trying to develop into this guy, is going to be tough on him because he don't have a mentor in front of him. So it's going to be rough on him. But I mean, it's possible, not impossible, but it's going to be a challenge.
With the quarterbacks too, it's important to have the system, the players, everything around him. But I think all you have to do is look at Green Bay. Favre probably wouldn't have been as good as he was if he didn't have the chance to learn behind Brett Favre. And I know damn sure that Jordan Love would not have been as good as he is if he didn't get the chance to sit behind Aaron Rodgers.
Favre had the magic man in front of him.
Yep, Don Majkowski.
Don Majkowski, or
Don Majkowski.
Yeah, Majkowski. Yeah.
I thought before Favre, the Packers as a team were not that good, though.
They weren't.
The magic man had his moments.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
He ran like 2 yards, 3 yards over the line of scrimmage and threw for a touchdown, and the Bears lost, and they never threw the flag. Should have never happened.
Yeah, he had his moments. I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer, but he had his moments. And then they was able to develop. I mean, they developed Hasselbeck, and so they was developing quarterbacks in the background. Even Flynn, although he flamed out in Seattle, but he played pretty well in that system. But you got to get that first guy in there to get it started.
Yeah. Essentially an avalanche. You got to roll the snowball to get that avalanche going for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I finally got it, guys. If we want to take a look at the roster just real quick, I hope that it does a good enough job of showing you guys exactly what we've got. We'll start with the defense real quick because I just wanted to point out kind of their defensive secondary. Don't mind too much about the boxes either. I'll explain if you guys need me to. The legend at the bottom there, some rookie picks, of course, with Austin Booker, and then a bunch of UDFAs. Some of the names in the middle there, too, I kind of just placed them there, one, because they fit, but two, because these are some guys who could either play probably interior or off the edge. But specifically, if you look at the secondary, Jonathan Owens is someone who gets a lot of shout, and he's our backup safety. And the cornerback specifically, I'm huge fans of Jalen Jones, Josh Blackwell. Reddy Stewart is UDFA, who has a lot of chatter around him. I'm kind of hoping that he makes the roster as well. Stroman had showed out in some moments. I think he even was in and out of the Bears roster, weirdly enough, but I thought that he played good. And your cornerback too, Tyreek Stevenson, Terrell Smith, solid there as well. And we all know how good Jalen Johnson is. So top to bottom, the secondary looks great. Maybe your safeties are a little bit weak in the sense that I don't know what you really have with a Quindell Johnson. I know Elijah Hicks is not the answer. So if you're talking about a player going down, Jaquan Brisker going down, which wouldn't be the most out of pocket in the world.
You don't have Elijah Hicks over a Quindell Johnson?
It's possible. Again, I don't necessarily want to get into the nitty-gritty and call this a depth chart. I didn't really put too much effort into that because the Bears will tell us our depth chart sooner or later. Yeah. But I was more concerned with just getting some names on the screen. The The secondary is going to be interesting to see who gets where. I've even heard chatter of Terrell Smith being too good to not play at all. So maybe he's the player who would go into a safety position if a Brisker or Kevin Byard go down. I still think that Jonathan Owens is your third safety across the board. But the defensive line is where I think a lot of people get up in arms. I saw someone earlier, and I don't know if I have it. Yeah, Brian Gilmore points out that the main depth issues are offensive line and defensive line. Well, you definitely don't have another Montez Sweat on the opposite side, but just look at the committee that you have. Is that 10 names total for your defensive ends? So Jacob Martin is probably going to be your fourth defensive end.
Where's he
brought in from? He's from the Colts. So I'm almost positive that a player coming in from the Colts is going to have some sort of familiarity with Matt Eberflus.
Khalid Kareem came from there too, right?
I'm not too sure, but Kareem, I believe, is one of those players who is more of a special teams asset at this point. I wouldn't consider him to be a player who's high on the depth chart, who's going to be getting pass rushing snaps or anything like that.
Yeah, he was on the team last year.
Seattle? Was he on the Seahawks, Kareem?
No, he came from I think the Colts last year. I mean, we was on the team last year. The guy that we got from Seattle last year was he was the other defensive end who's no longer here. That's what we had gotten from Seattle.
Seattle, the name that I'm thinking of is Muhammad. I can't remember the first name rather.
No, he was. Was he number 94 for us last year? Yeah.
Mr. Mayhem is here pounding the table to bring back Yannick Ngakoue. The name that I want to say before I can hand it off back to you guys, watch out for a Jamri Chroma. Jamri Chroma is one of our UDFAs as well, and he's a physical freak. And if you guys aren't familiar with Adam Mason does a great job of breaking the stuff down. And Jamri Chroma's maybe not the best RAS guy when it comes to being in the interior, but as an edge rusher, he's a lot more of a freak. But he has the ability, because of how athletic he is and just how good of a player he can be, he can play inside as well. So I think that just the Bears want to go more of an attacker by committee, so to speak, with your defensive ends. I don't think they're in the point where they have to hamstring their roster and spend $10 million on an aging veteran at this point.
Oh, he's not going to get paid that. In Dockway, he's not going to get paid that.
Definitely not, but that's what we had to pay him last year to bring him in before we got Montez Sweat. We essentially didn't have anyone proven. We were talking about how Travis Gibson was the answer at one of the ends and who was going to step up on the other side. But at
he wasn't even here last year. Travis Gibson wasn't. They let him go in preseason.
Right.
Right.
What we're saying is, remember all the stink when we let him go? There was a lot of people complaining that we let him go.
It is. We was advocating to keep him as well as Lewis, wasn't it?
Yeah. Right, from the Rams.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, good shot on that.
Here, the defense, I'm not worried about any defense because they'll be able to whatever they got to do, man.
Well, I think we kind of like.
If there's a problem at defensive end, and I said this last year, and some people laughed when I said it before the season, and then it turns out he played 18% of his snaps at defensive end, Gervon Dexter. I mean,
he's even lighter this year.
Right. And why is that if he's playing a 3-tech? Is that gonna? I don't know. But the great thing is they're not afraid to look at every possibility because we saw it last year.
I agree.
So
I'm just not so quick to say that Dominic Robinson is out of here because he's a polls drafted guy. I think he's going to get another a good chance to prove his worth.
He get a fair shake through preseason.
Yeah.
Do you remember what happened with Travis Gibson in the preseason last year?
Yeah, he couldn't hold the edge.
Well, no, just as far as playing time, he got like 80% playing time. He was playing into the fourth quarter of every single preseason game.
Sure.
Because the Bears either knew that they were going to get rid of him and wanted to put some tape out, or more importantly, they really put the pedal to the metal and wanted to see what they had with him. So this is a good comment from Brian Gilmore. He says, we'll be playing wait and see until the preseason to see what we actually have. And I think that's going to be the case with Dominic Robinson. He's probably going to be a player that plays a majority of the games. And if he's good enough, he's the last guy in. If he's not good enough, he's the first one out. And lot of tape for another team to hopefully practice sign him.
If you remember, Pete, we did discuss this because he was playing a lot in the preseason, and they said, "Oh, is this going to make the decision because he's sometimes unable to set the edge against third and fourth string players." You remember? Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember this, but we discussed it early. So we were shocked that he let go, but everybody knew that it could have happened because, again, I keep bringing this up. A lot of these guys are placeholders till the right personnel is found, and it's going to be through the draft because that's the way Oles told us what he was going to do.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Not a placeholder until a vet gets cut or until we trade for someone, but literally a season long, into the playoffs long placeholder. And that's just the nature of the beast. You can't get a perfect roster each and every time. So that's a very real statement there. Mr. VHS just wanted to point out that Pickens is not going to, or I'm sorry, regarding depth, Pickens is not necessarily going to be only a 3-tech. He'll also get the snaps at nose tech. What I want to say regarding that is that this graphic on the screen is not a depth chart and it's not set in stone. I believe I did a copy paste from last year. So Gervon Dexter and Zach Pickens were drafted together. That's why they're grouped together. I will do better to get you a solid depth chart, and I will let that be known once that is the case. Right now, we're just looking at everything.
Yeah, I just think that when I'm looking at how you have it set up here, DeMarcus Walker is pretty decent against a run, but we would probably want more of a pass rusher depending on how well Austin Booker develops. And if he's not really developing in training camp like they would love for him to do, I could see them going out and re-signing Yannick for about $4 million a year.
I would hope that it's much less than that if I'm being blunt. But yeah, again, this is just an Excel sheet. This has no way of having a nice configuration for their packages. They could have a NASCAR package where you've got 4 down linemen on a 3rd and long that consists rather of Montez Sweat, a Gervon Dexter, DeMarcus Walker, and Austin Booker. As Pete Foster just mentioned, Gervon Dexter was on the outside on a lot of pass rushing snaps, and I remember him stunting inside and doing great.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how he does this year with that different body type now.
They got a year under their belt. Those guys, Sweat, Billings, Dexter, Walker. They've worked together a little bit here at the end of the season consistently. So that should improve the quality of the defensive line right there. They've gotten familiar with each other. We always talk about continuity and playing together, so what the other guy's doing, man, to being on the same page. It's so critical. It's so critical.
Yeah.
I personally think that DeMarcus Walker is a better 3 technique than he is a defensive end. Just from what I saw when he was in Tennessee, when he had his 7 sacks the last year he was there, he was playing more of the 3 technique in their pass rush nickel packages.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah, but DeMarcus Walker had some good players around him as well. So it's always something to think about. And at the end of the day, I think the Bears are tried and true. It's going to be the same as it is on their offensive line and their defensive line. And we'll look at the offense in a second. But as far as continuity, players who know the system more, it's going to end up being the best players on the field at that time. There's obviously going to be some situations, goal line, all that good stuff. But if Zach Pickens and Gervon Dexter are the best 2 defensive linemen that you have, they'll see the field in some capacity. Whether they're both on the inside, one's on the outside, it doesn't matter. The best players, I hope, would see the field.
Yeah.
Let me switch it over
to about my guy out of Illinois, man, Keith Randolph Jr.
Yeah,
he's underrated because
I did a show with Adam Mason, and he asked me which players that were out of the UDF, or actually no, he just asked me top 10 rookies that we're excited for, period. And I did just ever such little digging into Keith Randolph. He has a good background. His dad was a cop, and he stayed at Illinois just to kind of embrace that hometown spirit. And I think that polls plucked him because maybe he's a Bears fan, but he just kind of likes that in his players, and it just feels like he's a good kid. So
I like him already.
Yeah, if the Bears are, of course you do, sir. So if the Bears are a little bit light at defensive line, I think that the players that they got, especially out of UDFA with a light number of draft picks, I think they did okay.
Well, I can't. You can't complain. I mean, Cold is on the job 24/7. I've been saying it, man. I was just so excited when we signed him as our general manager, because we haven't had one, first off, for how long, and a real one anyway. I don't know. I'm gonna stop, because I'm looking at the name going, oh yeah, linebackers.
Well,
what do you think? What do you got? You guys worried about linebacker position or not? Because I'm not.
Linebacker becomes one of those light positions too. Like if a TJ Edwards goes down, there's not too many household names there. I think that a lot of people are excited and like Noah Sewell, and you would think that everyone could essentially shift. But I don't know. If one of those linebackers goes down, it might be an issue. I don't know.
I actually believe the opposite. I think that's one of our stronger positions.
Absolutely.
Linebacker. I think we got
end.
Four good linebackers. I think we have four good linebackers.
I've coincidentally got them blocked out. Yes. I wouldn't consider Noah Sewell a great linebacker. He's nowhere close to being as good as TJ Edwards, because TJ Edwards is fringe all pro. But
I think Noah Sewell is good. I think, as a matter of fact, he may end up starting over Jack Sanborn.
That's a stretch. I'll put that one on the TikTok, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get that one recorded.
I'll tell you what, and I said this in the middle or something, probably after 10 games last year. I said basically I wouldn't if we didn't spend all that money on Edmonds and had Sanborn back in the middle with Edmonds. I said it, that would be maybe a better duo. I don't know for sure, but watching him play and watching what happened. So, but then I got to take into account too, before we got swept, that line wasn't the greatest line to have in front of you when you're playing linebacker. You've got to cover some mistakes up and stuff. So there's a little that goes into it. Iceberg Slim, what's happening, dude?
What's up, Slim?
Hello. Yeah, Foster, I just wanted to say a couple things. I'm gonna transition us to the offense, and I'll let you guys yap about that. Tremaine Edmonds, if we didn't sign him, where does that money go? It's a good question, because he did get a lot of money, but a lot of what Tremaine Edmonds could represent on this football team could be off the field and in between the eyes or ears rather as well. He could be a good leader and get the players around him in better position than a Jack Sanborn. I at the end of the day agree. I agree with you. I think it would have been smarter to have the kid Jack Sanborn play as your Sam or your Mike, whatever the case is, and spend that money elsewhere. But the Bears defense performed very well last year. And today, Eberflus in the press conference said that he expects the defense to be the thing that gets this team off the ground and be the quickest up to speed first. I always think that that's the nature of the beast, is that the defenses should be ahead of the offense, at least to start, especially with the rookie quarterback. But I think that this defense can start to win you games early on, and once the offense catches up, we'll look out.
I think you're overlooking his pass defending capabilities. Tremaine Edmonds, he's good in the middle of the field there, kind of like a mini version of a Brian Urlacher in that cover 2 system. So
because of the length, he's so tall.
He had a few interceptions there too. So I think that's something that Jack Sanborn can't do as well.
That's his.
So therefore, that's why his value is.
Absolutely agreed, Paige. I agree 100%. It's something I said last year in the middle of the season, because I was like, we're paying this guy too much money, and I'm not seeing enough production out of him. And that was, I wasn't alone saying that either at the time.
Oh yeah, he started off slow. But he picked up. So
once those turnovers start coming, it's hard to say that they did wrong by signing Tremaine Edmonds, in my opinion. For the money, maybe you want to see a little bit more. I'm going to switch it over to the offense, guys.
Real quick, Carl, because I agree with Doug Van Dorn. He says he actually feels that Sanborn is a fringe all pro, and I said it when he was coming out of college. I could show you 300 drafts, and I had him in every draft for the Bears. I was shocked, but yet pleased when we signed him as a UDFA. That's how high I was on that guy.
And that's good. An all-pro is a consensus best player at their position by the internal NFL, by the players and the coaches. He's not even a Pro Bowler. The Bears fan base could probably vote him into the Pro Bowl if he really tried to, but the national media didn't think that he was good enough to be a Pro Bowler. Now we're talking he's going to be an all-pro.
Fringe. He could be
I think
that the homerism has never been stronger in that sentence. I'm going to put
I
it
would
back
have
on the
loved
screen.
to have seen him play.
I love to read this from
second season
VHS,
last year at either position, the Sam or the Mike.
Well, I think
we'll never know because they took that opportunity away. He sure was the talk of the town when he got thrown in that position, man. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think he's better at maybe the wheel linebacker than he is the Mike. I mean, because in our system, the Mike has to cover the middle of the field a lot more in the deep middle of the field. I don't think he has a range for that. But as far as that downhill thumper type that TJ Edwards, Lance Briggs was, yeah, Jack Sanborn I think can fill that role.
It's so weird. I hate how we're still talking about the defense, by the way, but it's so fucking awkward how good of a direct comparison these three linebackers are to the Bears of old. Tremaine Edmonds, a long, rangy linebacker who's tall and is good at coverage. That's Urlacher. TJ Edwards, not the fastest guy who can hit the teeth out of your mouth. That's Lance Briggs. And Jack Sanborn, an underrated white linebacker. That's Hunter Hillenmeyer. I'm sorry. That's weird to me. Very, very weird.
And he hates the fact that we're talking about the defense, sir.
Yeah. I mean, Bears are synonymous with defense. Foster, I just wanted to say, because this has been on my mind since I saw Montez Sweat's name. You asked me to look at some clips regarding some unrelated funny stuff at the end of the last stream. Yeah. I was poking around in one of those videos, and you hit nail on the head before the trade had happened. You're like, oh, the Bears should trade for Montez Sweat. I don't even know if you remember this, but I can't believe how fucking spot on that was from you.
It was in March of 2023. I said it.
So you were talking about how a lot of Bears fans wanted to trade a first for Chase Young.
Yep.
And you literally said, fuck that. I want the Bears to trade a second for Sweat. He's younger and better and will be cheaper. And I can't believe how spot on you were.
Not that he was younger. My whole thing there was no injuries and coming out of the combine.
Pressure,
said, quote, coming out of the combine, he goes, I remember watching this. He's like, man, whoever gets this guy is going to be happy for a long time. And if you look at his college career to present to today, the guy doesn't get hurt, and he's been a model of consistency all the way through, all of it.
Yeah, reminds me of a Peppers physically, just a freak athlete who doesn't have to do much. A little
bit because they had all four of those guys in Washington, where that might have helped him back.
Yes.
He was
someone got hurt or traded before him.
You're the man now, dude. You're the man. You're not on this four-headed horse line. Now you're the guy. So. Yes. The Tez effect, and he got his money instantly, right? Yeah, and it was worth it because now what would have been if he had to sign him this year? You know, if we didn't sign him last year during his contract with the big inflation that just hit, what would that contract be a month ago if we had to sign it a month ago? I'm saying
it would be worse. That's what it would be.
Absolutely, it'd be a heavier cap hit, man.
PJ, I'll let you have the final say if you want. Otherwise, I think we're ready to take a look at some offensive names here.
Oh, we're good.
All righty. So there you go, Foster. We've got a collection of names on the interior offensive line, and I don't want to pretend that I know each and every one of them inside and out. I would just like to point out Theo Benedict is a player who is undrafted, and I don't believe he was playing in the CFB, college football, this past year. But I think that he turned down some outside chances at like the XFL or the Canadian Football League because he quite simply wanted to develop as an NFL offensive lineman. And there's an unconfirmed rumor, just reports and maybe suggestions based on measurables, that Theo Benedict could develop as a center because he has short arms. But other than that, he's a good football player. So maybe you see a Doug Kramer get knocked off. You see a Ryan Bates get moved over to a guard as a backup, and Theo Benedict is your second center and eventually can develop. I have no idea. Would just like to point out, too, the blue stands for a rookie draft pick, but for Torrey Taylor's case, that's a blue chip player down there that they drafted in the 4th round. And again, I don't want to say that this is a depth chart, but it's in a pretty good order, I'd say. I only have Rome in the slot, and I'm sure that he's not going to be getting the majority of the slot snaps this year. He's an outside receiver, but just wanted to kind of group all the other wide receivers together to see who's competing where. It's nice with Rome because he fits in anywhere, right? He can be any of your outside wide receivers. He can be your slot receiver. I won't let anyone tell me otherwise. But there's a couple names in the wide receiver room that even DJ Moore listed today. He still is talking about Velus Jones. He's talking about Tyler Scott. I think that Dante Pettis is going to have every shot to make this roster, even if it's a return man. So the Bears have some depth across the field, in my opinion.
Well, I haven't seen a pass where Caleb threw a pass to Velus Jones in camp this week.
Thank you, Scottish Bears. I'm going to get some notes for you guys regarding names that were not at OTAs, but Nate Davis can confirm he was not at OTAs.
And Bates getting all the snaps at center.
Now that's
I don't think there's a lot going on there, but
that's what's interesting to me, because the discussion was whether or not Bates will be the starting center or would it be Shelton. Shelton being the center who played with the Rams last year. So Bates being the starting center, I find interesting.
Gentlemen, this is not a depth chart. Are you going based off of my graphic, or did you hear that Ryan Bates was the starting center?
Didn't Foster just say that Bates got the snaps at center?
If that's the case, I'm not too sure. You saw that as a confirmed?
No. What I know is I've heard it like 4 times, and from people that there's no reason for them to say. Even somebody just said it in the chat. It's in the chat even.
Yeah.
Yeah. So notable starters, as per Dan Wiederer, notable starters that were absent from today's list of players for OTAs: Nate Davis, Darnell Wright, Keenan Allen, and Montez Sweat. I think we're okay with Montez Sweat not being there. Darnell Wright, I'd like to know what's going on as a young player, what's going on there. Keenan Allen, confirmed by DJ Moore that Keenan Allen was celebrating the birthdays of his wife and daughter. So him not being there, fine by me. Nate Davis, I can only assume why he's not there. I hope that this is still not an emotional issue for him, but I think maybe the big guys, especially right now, it's not as important as you want your playmakers syncing up.
It's not.
I'll go with the veteran player, and I know I've even complained a little bit about Nate Davis last year, but he's a veteran guy. It's just a little different as far as Keenan Allen and I forgot who else you said, but the veterans, Keenan Allen, I don't think he has to necessarily be at this stuff. The guy's brilliant. He'll pick the system up. He'll pick up whatever they want quickly. He's got all the tools. We know that. We've seen it. So,
yeah, I think,
younger guys.
To piggyback on what Foster's saying, for me, the only people that I really would have a problem with not being at OTAs right now is Caleb Williams and probably Rome. Seeing as though Rome, they both being rookies coming into it. So I would want them to get as much as they can. Lineman, be it defensive or offensive lineman, you really don't, there's not a lot for you to do in OTAs anyway, not the first week at least. So yeah, I'm not really.
I get it, but I would want the offensive lineman there. I want Darnell right there. He's a second-year player. The younger guys, rookies, second, third-year guys, they need to be there at this stuff.
Yeah,
and even any of the free agents or anybody we traded for that we picked up on the offensive line, I want them there as early and as often as possible because I've got to see who my solid backup is for Tevin Jenkins. I've got to know what I've got. So the more I see, it's an informed decision, correct? I mean, it's just like I call it on the British Bears show. It's the damn bleeding obvious to me because I want to know exactly what I have. I know what I have on film and on paper, but I want to see these guys, and we always talk about it, man. I want to see the same 5 guys out there getting to know each other, the movements they make, the way they handle themselves.
Yeah, but you're not getting a lot of live reps as a lineman in OTA.
Get that. but you get to know the guy next to you, not just because you're not really getting that, like you're talking about. You get to know them better. You're gonna chat, talk to them during this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about football. It's you've got to come together as a family and a community to win a damn Super Bowl, or you're not gonna. You got to do it, and that starts with communication from day one. Just getting to know people, getting to be comfortable with them. It's like any good business.
Yeah, guys, I can't find anything concrete on who's taking the starting snaps at OTAs. I'm of the PJ school of thought where these snaps at OTAs as an offensive lineman, they mean something, but they don't mean as much as maybe you'd like to hope to think. I also agree with Foster that you want the team to surround themselves around their younger players and build that family atmosphere, that brotherhood, so to speak, because they're getting ready to go to war for 17 games and hopefully some more.
I see Scottish Bear made this comment. He says Nate Davis, Sweat, Darnell Wright, Allen. Is that Velus Jones Jr.?
I don't have confirmation on VJJ not being there.
See,
that was not reported.
A pass where he caught a pass from Caleb. Unless he's no longer wearing number 12. Because I've seen a number 12 catch a pass from Caleb, kind of the same route that DJ Moore ran. And so I'm surprised that he's not there.
I'm almost positive that he is. I'm going to have to shoot that one down. Velus Jones, as reported by the Bears Wire, is still wearing number 12 for the record.
Yeah. So I saw number 12 catch a pass from Caleb.
I saw him in one of those videos that I showed on the screen too. So
yeah.
That was from Wednesday, though, right? Maybe he just missed today.
Oh, okay. That's
yeah.
fair.
It's very possible.
I'm just spitballing, man. I don't know for sure.
Yeah,
it wasn't reported today as a missing player, though. The only 4 confirmed were Nate Davis, Darnell Wright, Keenan Allen, and Montez Sweat.
Okay. I just hope everything's okay with Nate Davis. I mean, I know he had a rough year last year, so I just hope everything's all right.
Yeah, you would hate for that to still be something that's in his mind. And at that point, if it's that long, you almost have to ask and see if it's time to step away for football, because if he can't get his mind right, he will never be able to be the best football player that he wants to be. And he'd just be cheating himself to begin with, which is very unfortunate.
Doug Van Dorn, to something you said, sometimes they issue the same number to more than one player during OTAs.
Yes.
They only do that on opposite sides of the ball.
Yes.
So they're not going to have 2 offensive players with the same number or 2 defensive players with the same number. They would have an offensive player and a defensive player possibly with the same number, but not on the same side of the ball. But Scottish Bear is maintaining VJJ not there today. So Velus Jones Jr. wasn't there today is what he's saying.
Yeah, I just haven't seen that reported, but I guess at the end of the day here, it is voluntary.
Right.
Yes.
And Eberflus was asked how, as a whole, how has the turnout of the team been? And he classified it as excellent. He said it was awesome. He didn't say that there was a 100% attendance today or during OTAs. They don't keep attendance. They don't track that. But I'm not too worried about any of this stuff just yet. I think if the veterans not being there that want to contribute and help the rookie, that would be awkward. So if a Cole Kmet, a DJ Moore, if those guys aren't there, then maybe it's a little bit more of a story. But I don't know.
Okay. It is. I got to remember it's voluntary, man. So,
this is not
we don't have all the information, period. We only have some of the information. We'll know in the next day or two. Watch, you'll hear.
It's not like they have to get a doctor's note. That's exactly right, Cliff.
Yeah. I mean, to Keenan Allen's point, I mean, your wife and your daughter has a birthday. That's important. I mean, if life hasn't taught me nothing else, it has taught me that you need to spend a quality time that you can with your family. Some of you may not agree with that, but at the end of the day, certain things you don't get back. So take that time with your family. I mean, for real, especially seeing as though he's going to be away from them because they haven't moved here yet. So he's going to be here during training camp and all these other things where he's going to be away from his family for a minute until they do move here. So when you don't have to be here, spend time with your family, man. I'm a proponent of that. Spend time with your family.
Yeah, I remember hearing about this with Jalen Johnson. There was a lot of, especially when he was trying to get his contract. Oh, where's Jalen Johnson? He's not with the team. What's going on? Does he want to trade? And he ultimately did request a trade, technically. But he just wanted to spend time with his daughter, man. It's voluntary. PJ, you're absolutely right. You're not going to get this time back, so try and take advantage of it and, blur that line, or I guess have the separation, rather, of making sure that you spend time with the family and still advancing your career.
Oh, absolutely.
I do want to point out Courtney Cronin is what I can find, who reported that she did not see Velus Jones. That doesn't mean that he wasn't there. Courtney Cronin is reporting that she didn't see him. Is she perfect? She could be very close. But I don't know. It wasn't reported perfectly, and at the end of the day, it might be a moot point. J2K in the chat?
Yeah, I'm trying to get that.
J2K.
Fucking J2K.
I remember last year with Jalen, him because his daughter lived out there in California. Again, man, spend time with your family. I encourage each and every one of you in the chat, spend time with your family, man. I mean,
unless you're in mine, Pete.
Right. My condolences to C Sharp's family from the Nomad Network. Man, he passed away this past Saturday, I believe. Man, my condolences to his family. I pray God that he can comfort your hearts and make it easier on you guys. But spend time with your family, man. You never know when life can come get you. So spend time with your family.
Absolutely. Yeah. I saw that Scottish Bears said that Nick from CHGO said he was missing. So I'll tend to believe it a lot more. Nick's usually on the spot.
Oh, Nicholas Moriano?
Yeah. Not our Nick. Your Nick. Tell him I said he's not on the spot. I'm kidding. Because I'm going to put him on the spot. No.
Last I saw from our Nick, he was drinking a 30 Rock of Bush or something, said he's out of the house. So he's taking some time away from the kid again. Good for him.
Good for him.
Who said that? Cliff said, "Isn't she short? How would she see anyone?"
Yeah.
Hopefully she's in the bleachers and she's got a pair of binoculars, right? That's her job, is to do that reporting. But at the end of the day, spend the time with your family. The only thing that's on the line for these guys is only $200,000 as per DJ Moore.
Well, I think certain people have it in their contract and certain people don't.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you don't have it in your contract that you have to be there, man, spend time with
you're not gonna find a rookie or a guy who's on his rookie contract $200,000. But that's all what goes into the negotiating. So well, I guess while we're thinking about it and while we have the names in front of us, are there in chat, please feel free to I know it's a joke. Please feel free, chat, to chime in. What are some position battles that you guys want to see? Not to kind of toot the horn of Adam Mason, but he also turned me on to Ian Wheeler. No Diddy there either. But Ian Wheeler is a player who could be our kick returner. And that running back room, I don't know if you're going to be taking more than 4 guys, especially if they keep Kari Blasingame. But are there any names on here, chat, or obviously you guys, Foster, PJ, any names that you kind of are thinking maybe could be on their way out and there'd be a competition between some of these players?
Jack Corum and Larry Borum.
Larry Borum, you think that that's a competition for that player?
Well, I think when you have Larry Borum, now I'm not saying it's your swing tackle. I'm saying more as your 4th tackle. He could possibly still make the team, because I don't remember hearing a lot out of Jack Corum. I mean, so I'm curious to see that battle.
Now, what if I told you that the Bears brought 9 offensive linemen into the season last year? That would not equate to 4 tackles, in my opinion.
It would me.
I'm trying to see if I can get last year's roster.
I would say the rookie, Jatari Carter, Corey Shelton, and then a battle between Quorum and Borum. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a nice rock solid number in.
Because I don't know much about Matt Pryor.
that's
I don't know much about him.
I have no idea how I'm coming up with these results. I'm searching for the 2023 roster, and it's showing me players now. Hopefully Pro Football Reference gives me a better idea.
Pryor was the guy from the 49ers?
Yeah, but wasn't he on the practice squad or something?
I'd have to get confirmation on that. I'm not too familiar with Matt Pryor.
I want to say one of these guys, and I can't remember who, and I know one of them, in a pinch could play any position on that line. I'm not sure if it's Pryor, because they're talking about playing him more at guard and center, but he's also played the tackle positions in NFL games. I'd have to double check that, and I'd like to make sure I get the name, but I remember reading it, hearing it, seeing it. So, you know how Poles likes to have people who are multi-talented, man.
Oh yeah, you won competition too. So
yeah, absolutely that too. But the key is here, because I'm still out of all this. My biggest concern, and you guys know it, is the interior offensive line. What's going to happen if Tevin gets hurt again? We going to be okay? I'm just saying. We don't 100% know what we have at center. Which Nate Davis is going to be there? Are we going to have to use somebody that we just got because we're not getting what we anticipated from Nate Davis? So I'm just, to me, that's the weak link. You could set me up all day long keeping Braxton Jones and Wright as tackles. Some people argue that, but I just look at the interior offensive line and go, okay, what do we actually have? We have Tevin Jenkins for 12 or 13 games. And then there's a couple guys that can play center. Actually, there's probably 3. And then what are we going to see at right guard from whom? And this is my projection, so I'm not saying I'm even right.
Well,
it's like we talk about, Peach.
Yeah.
Carl, show me, because I don't know what we have. Man, I wish we had 3 Tevin Jenkins playing guard, center, and right guard.
Yeah,
they could play 17, 20 games every year without getting hurt, because then we'd never have a problem. But we don't.
I think that's the thing with Davis. With the unfortunate thing that happened in his, death in his family last year. You're hoping that nothing happened like that this year. So throughout his career, he's been pretty healthy. So you would consider that to continue to be the case. My concern, though, if we got Bates as our starting center with Tevin Jenkins' history of injury, who then fills in for him when he goes down? Ja'Tari Carter? I kind of like Ja'Tari, but I haven't seen enough, I guess, to really feel comfortable with him enough yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I think when Ja'Tari Carter was forced to come in, I think that he was better than what people made him out to be. It's very hard to replace a Tevin Jenkins, in my opinion, because, again, talk about a fringe all-pro player. I think that Tevin Jenkins only needs to stay healthy to reach that level. He's that good.
Yeah, he's a body mover.
Yep.
But I also think that as far as what we have, it's very important for these guys to know how to play all these positions. I think that the interior should be interchangeable. You saw Tevin Jenkins go from right guard to left guard, didn't really miss a beat, and he also is the one who could play tackle. But I think a lot of these guys, they might even get battle tested in the preseason. Have some guys who are on the fringe, just play different positions. At the end of the day, I think even Karan had mentioned that even though he's trying to be the left tackle, someone asked him, "Oh, are you trying to beat out someone to be the swing tackle? Oh, are you trying to be the starting tackle?" He said, "There's nuances to the game of football at the offensive line position, but I'll play wherever they need me to." So Karan could be that guy that steps in and plays for left guard, right guard, whatever the case is.
Very true.
I wouldn't put it past him.
He has some good size. I think it was 6'5". If I'm not mistaken, he was like 6'5", 330 or something.
He's comparable to Braxton, but even bigger. And as far as
that's what I'm saying. Because if I'm not mistaken, I thought Braxton was like 315, something like that. Whereas this guy, I think, is like around 330, somewhere like that, more like a Tevin Jenkins.
Yeah, I'm trying to squeak together that for us right now.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, we mentioned it before. I know it's highly unlikely, but I loved seeing Tevin Jenkins at the right guard next to Darnell Wright. Oh my God.
this is a Dan Shorty type argument. Yes.
Yeah, they were people movers. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, they were impressive on that right side together.
Karan measurables confirmed by the NFL.com is a 6'5" human being with 323 pounds of body weight on him. He's got
Okay.
36 and 1/8 inch arms and 9 5/8 inch hands. I'm not too big on the measurables. Again, no Diddy, but Karan seems like a massive human being to me.
And Braxton Jones, I think, is what, 6'6", 315, 318, something like that, I think.
I can get you Braxton measurables. I would have to assume that they're very close, and
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if Karan's a bit bigger.
I know Braxton has long, 36-inch arms as well.
Braxton apparently came in at 6'5" as well.
Oh, okay.
310 pounds, so he is a bit lighter.
Okay.
And then arm length, it looks to be 35 3/8. So again, Karan's got another 1.25 inches on him. I don't know. I think that Karan just quite simply is bigger.
Yeah. Smart guy too. Obviously went to Yale, right?
You'd hope so. That's not always how that translates, but you would hope so, yes. And from the way he talks, it feels like he's an intelligent human being and honestly humble as well.
Well, if you go to jail, you're pretty intelligent in my book.
I wanted to let you guys know I ran Matt Pryor. So the guy's basically come in and he's played right guard, right tackle, left tackle. He's been in 75 games and 24 of them starts.
Okay.
So he can fill a lot of I know that's one of the reasons that Pohl picked him up.
How old is he?
As far as like a best
position, he was drafted as a tackle, but came right in and played with the Eagles actually when he was drafted, not because he was forced to by injury, but he started at right guard and ended up playing the guard, both the guard positions, and then the 49ers actually used him last year in a pinch. I don't remember if it was left tackle or right tackle because it didn't say in the article, but that was who I was referring to. That and again, this is Pohl's logic because you look at him on film and it's okay. We got something there. If we definitely can use this. It's an upgrade from what we had. Plus, the guy's very versatile.
Yeah, this is a bold comment from J2K. He's mentioning because my school of thought was that Ryan Bates was going to be the de facto center, meaning he'll get every opportunity to be, because the Bears wanted to trade for him last year. And there was an offer sheet that was matched by the Bills, and then he didn't play because he got injured. But Pohl's got his way at the end and got a Ryan Bates, and I think that he would be the one who gets this. But J2K is calling Shelton downright soft. If there's any sort of comparison between a center and Ryan Mustafer, I don't want that player starting.
Sam Mustafer?
Yes, yeah. Sam Mustafer. That's the comparison that J2K is making for Coleman Shelton.
Yeah. Foster, how old was Pryor in your research of him real quick?
29.
Okay. Yeah, I guess he'd be our first reserve off the bench then.
Yeah, I was going to compare it to a basketball team. You've got 5 starters in basketball, 5 starting offensive linemen. Matt Pryor is going to be your 6th man. Right. Whoever goes down, Matt Pryor comes in.
I'd be okay with that. Pretty possible of that because of what he's capable of doing. So,
and that's probably how he found his way onto the Bears because Ryan Poles loves positional value, versatility rather.
He was the first one to catch my eye and go maybe do a little deeper check because I knew a little bit about him. I don't follow everybody, man, but a name pops up and over 5 or 6 years you hear a guy's name a few times and you look at him and oh well yeah, you know what? He's better than the depth we got on our team. I wouldn't mind having a guy come along. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. It's my concern. I've stated it to start, and it's just what do we actually have in that interior offensive line? Now you got somebody saying Shelton soft, and Bates should be playing. You know, I've even heard this. It's like, oh no, man, watch. If there's a single problem with Nate Davis, either Bates or Benedette might start getting snaps at right guard. I mean, I've heard this said too. So
yeah, he's definitely not going to be a tackle where I have his name slotted in. His arms are a little bit too short apparently. So I think Theo Benedict, that was the issue with him, is that he's a good football player who chose to develop in the NFL, but his arms are his weakness, the length of his arms.
He's going to be a guard.
Either a guard or a center, right?
Yeah.
That's probably the player from Canada. Yes, thank you.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I mean, we can bicker in the chat all we want.
Right.
A little bit of that going on here, but it's all going to boil down to I want to see football being played. We get an extra preseason game, and I think that the players who are on a fringe roster spot or a fringe starting, they're going to be the ones who get a lot of snaps, and it's going to be really interesting to see how that shakes out. It would be maybe a little bit weird if Orion Bates was to not get much playing time because they just automatically chose for him to be the center. But also, too, it also is going to depend who vibes well with Caleb Williams, because at the end of the day, that's going to be very important as well. You want to have your rookie quarterback, your first overall pick, surrounded with the best system. So I still think that the best player will come to the cream of the crop top. And I don't care. I don't care who it is. I think that Ryan Bates is good. I think that they'll give him every shot. But if it's Coleman Shelton and he plays well, I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
Mark Kazak, the person you're talking about, he asked the question, isn't there a center that Poles is waiting to sign when he gets healthy? Though the center in question is Connor Williams, and I don't know if Poles is actually waiting on him or not. I mean, there's been nothing that I've seen that he's planning to do it.
I don't know if we have the money even for that type of contract to cover half of the season. Let's say it's 7 games, because everybody's talking. Right. It'd be great. You muzzle through, and then you pick him up in week 11 or 12, the Green Bay Packers game. I'm just saying, because this has been talk right when the season ended, man. This was talk in our chat and in other chats about get Connor Williams, bring him in, man. So, but I don't know if we've got the money to even do that because of the contract that he's going to replace.
Yeah, good point.
So, I don't know for sure. I'm throwing it out there, man. And
Connor Williams is probably at a situation where he wants to wait and see because he wants to win. So if the Bears are winning games, I don't know if Connor Williams would care too much about the money in the short term if it meant success. And there's nothing confirmed on that. He's not someone that has ever been mentioned by Ryan Poles, my understanding, but he's just such an obvious good player. He's not on a team. So I would say let's be optimistic about it, and maybe it's an option. But at the end of the day, maybe we don't even want to have to worry about having to sign a center because we'll have that sorted out already.
2 things. Okay, Poles has been a fan of Caleb Williams forever, and I've never heard him mention him until this year. Secondly, I forgot about this, and J2K reminded us, because I've heard this too practically since he was injured. And J2K says, I heard that Williams' injury was potentially career-ending, and everyone is waiting on him to see if he can be what he once was. So, there's another blinder off from the eyes, because we're getting the whole picture. We just don't know.
Well, Connor Williams is 6'5" / 6'6", kind of tall for a center, and our quarterback being 6'1", could be an issue. Hopefully not, but could be an issue.
Smart player. He's been dealing with that his whole career. His height.
You don't necessarily have had a 6'6" center either, though.
No, I'm talking I'm talking about Connor Williams dealing with it. You're only looking at it from the quarterback's aspect.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, being able to see over your lineman, throw over your lineman.
Do you always have to see over them too, though? No. Maybe if you've got short patterns over the middle, that's where it gets weird. But
that's what I'm talking about, over the middle.
There's so much intricacies to the offense. I think that they also want to have passing lanes. You always hear about passing lanes. Mm-hmm. It's not always directly over the center's head. Maybe you have that split, kind of like you're creating a gap for the running back. I think
Well,
it's the
there,
same
there
thing
was
for
a
your passing
complaint.
lanes.
There was a complaint that we didn't throw many over the middle passes in the last few years. So if that was a complaint, now we have a quarterback who's kind of vertically challenged in that regard, being 6'1". And if we have a tall center, would he have a problem seeing?
I don't know, man. You're making me want to look at the USC roster and see the height of these guys, because at the
My-
end of the day, I don't know if it mattered.
My point is this, Pete. If this is a factor, and he's been the same height his whole career as a veteran player, and I'm sure if there's an issue with it, the quarterback has come to the coach in the past, and there's adjustments that the player can make. He doesn't have to be standing up 6'7". He can take a step left or right. What I'm just saying basically is that this should not be a new issue as for Connor Williams himself, because he's always been the 6'7". So I'm sure, I would think at least once in his career this has come up. And the guy's smart too. He's a smart guy. He'll make the adjustment for his quarterback.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but
Okay.
the thing I'm saying is with what Miami had, they had two speed receivers who played on the outside,
Yeah.
and the majority of their passes was thrown on the outside. So if our complaint in the media here was we didn't have many passes thrown across the middle here, okay, are we going to say that again? I mean, again, I'm just looking at it practically.
Not if we had Miami's passing offensive stats last year, we wouldn't be talking about any of this.
Correct. Very, very true.
Yeah. It's
I don't
moving.
know, man.
Again, my whole thing was, and I'll ask you guys, what do you guys think? What do you think of the interior offensive line? Because look at all the positions and tell me what your biggest concern is at what position.
Interior?
Right. So you're with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because like you said, I mean, Tevin Jenkins' health is a concern for me. I don't know what we have in Ryan Bates. I'm hoping that he's good, but do we know? Nate Davis, after last year, yeah, but then not being at OTAs now, I'm like, in my head, I'm wondering, like, what's going on? I'm hoping it's nothing, but I'm still wondering, given what happened last year, man, what's going on? I mean, is that fair? Maybe not, but I'm just being honest.
Yeah. Well,
I think that if everyone is there at the capacity that they should be, I think that you're okay at the offensive line. It's not, a Lions type unit, best in the league, but Tevin Jenkins is very good. Nate Davis is good when he's there, and I hope that he can get right. And Ryan Bates, Coleman Shelton, I think that I wouldn't say you can't go wrong, but I think that the Bears' interest in Ryan Bates speaks volumes. And I think if he's your center, I think you're okay there. Depth is never going to be the easiest thing in the world. And if you lose an all-pro like Tevin Jenkins, it's very hard to replace him. Again, I think that Jatari Carter is a little bit better than people make it out to be. It sounds like Matt Pryor could kind of fill in wherever. And I would maybe think that if it's an extended issue, that maybe Ryan Bates would be willing to go to guard and Coleman Shelton step up. I'm not too sure. And also with your tackles, I believe it when Karan says that he'd be willing to play wherever. If he shows out, if he's healthy and he's good, maybe he could fill in at guard. So I don't know if it's really truly an issue. Again, there's always going to be a step down when there's an injury.
I agree with everything you just said, but your first sentence was, do you remember it?
Tevin Jenkins?
No, your first sentence was, if everyone plays to where we think they should, to that effect. This is the third year in a row I'm saying the exact same thing. And I'm not putting anybody down or saying anything negative, but doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, we all know is the definition of insanity. And I'm just saying, this is the third year I'm saying the same thing with the offensive line going into a season. That's all I'm saying. You get it. You know what I mean, Carl, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we could be completely off the mark, but Leo even here is pointing out that polls selected Tevin Jenkins to go to the Caleb dinner. And with the schedule release video, Tevin had, in my opinion, the perfect role, and he's obviously a prominent person. I don't know. I think that they're going to be on him long term. Hopefully they can come to terms and he's a player that stays. Maybe it's best if he doesn't reach his all-pro capacity, because if you pay him like an all-pro and then he truly does go down, then you're starting to hurt the salary cap.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree that you don't necessarily want to view it as, oh, this player has to play perfectly to get what we need out of them. You want to have some backup plans. I don't know. At this time of the season, I'm a little bit more optimistic than maybe during the season.
I think this is the time to sign Tevin is now. I mean, before, with his injury history, with his not making a Pro Bowl or All Pro yet, maybe this is the time to get him now before he gets there, in the hopes that he does get there. But this is probably be the lowest that you can get him at.
It's the biggest game of cat and mouse ever, right? Because
it's a big chance.
if you lowball him and he accepts, is that a red flag? Does he not anticipate staying healthy or whatever the case is? What you probably want is to try and get just above that low ball and have it be a respectable offer, and have him say, no, I'm going to bet on myself. Then when he plays well and doesn't get injured and you do want to re-sign him, he's like, okay, this franchise wants me. They tried to keep me before they knew what they had with my injury history, and they meet in the middle ultimately. That's what I think the perfect story would be with Tevin Jenkins.
I disagree. I disagree in the sense that if you give him a respectful offer and he takes it, that's where you want to be. Because
before he outprices that?
Yeah, because we see what happened with Jalen Johnson.
I don't know what they offered him. I don't know what the number is.
Sure it was
he's
19.
One of the highest paid cornerback in the league now.
Yeah, sure it was a 19. So
the Bears still extended that offer after he outpriced them, and they're very happy with it because he's quite simply one of the best cornerbacks in the league.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I think when they first offered him whatever they offered him, I'm pretty sure it wasn't 19. So it was probably somewhere around 14 to 16, somewhere around there. So then after the great year he had, man, they had to up the price. So I'm saying before Tevin puts himself in another pay category, go ahead and sign him now, and hopefully you can get him for a good number, even if it's only for, let's say, 3 years. All right, fine. I just sign him for 3 years.
Yeah, maybe give him a little bit more up front so that if he does end up having some concerns with injuries, there's an out on the contract. You don't want to have a Danny Trevathan effect where you've got a whole new system in place for 2 or 3 years. The GM's gone, but you're still paying for that player. You do not want that.
Exactly.
I wanted to address Doug in the chat. He said, it says boss or something. I can't see it anymore, but agreed. They did replace, let's just say, the 2 weakest links in the line from last year. And they've done one thing for sure, and that is upgraded the depth, at least in my opinion. So, I mean, I am very hopeful too, but to my point, just where they've replaced them. Did we upgrade them for sure? Are we 100% sure? I believe so. But again, I've got to see it. And then I wanted to ask you guys this. Can Doug Kramer, the undersized center from Illinois, make this roster this year? Is he going to step up? Because there's times where he was looking like Mustafa getting pushed around on that field, even in preseason last year.
He's kind of light, and
that's the problem.
He doesn't do a good job of anchoring in my opinion.
Yeah.
And he had a serious leg injury, I'm pretty sure too, right?
Foot.
He did.
I thought it was.
That's why he didn't play his entire rookie season.
Yeah. That's why Doug Kramer's boxed out there, because I think he made the roster last year. But I would consider Doug Kramer a practice squad player at this point. If he can develop, that's awesome. But I think one of the reasons he's on the roster to begin with is just one of those hometown kids. Poles gave him a shot, and it just simply hasn't panned out. So we're talking about a third-string practice squad player. I don't think there's too much of a concern there. Yeah.
I'm in the same
Doug specifically says essentially Kramer's last chance to prove it. We could be totally wrong. Doug Kramer could, play a lot of the snaps and play very well and have a Tyson Bagent effect where he earns himself onto the roster because they don't want to lose him. But,
it's okay to be light if you're really strong, i.e. Kelsey for the Eagles. But I don't know if Kramer is strong like that, because that's the thing that was working for Kelsey. He was quick, strong, and light. So he was able to, move and, get people to where they wanted to go. I don't know if Kramer is that guy. I don't know if he can do that.
Yeah, I think it reminds me of the Dominique Robinson experiment. You gave him as big of a chance, as long as a chance as you can, and it's getting to the point where re-signing him would be a liability, and it's just not going to happen. So I think his time will be coming short here, and that's okay by me.
Leo Factor 1. He's excited for the preseason to see Bajent, Caleb, and our new corner. We haven't talked about the corner at all.
Yeah.
Well, I think them releasing Gill tells us all that we need to know about the putter. Yeah. He's a guy, period. I mean, in the story, he's a guy.
Did you guys see what happened with Trenton Gill? It's nothing like super special, but
did he get picked up by the Packers?
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised, I guess. But what happened with Trenton Gill was that he got signed pretty soon after being released. He got signed by the Broncos, and he was released again the same day.
Wow.
So I think that our overreaction to Tory Taylor being drafted was we can put that at ease now, because
that's a personality thing or something wrong with the contract. If you get picked up and released in the same day, they didn't have a chance to work you out. So I don't know. Yeah, it's something else going on there.
Fair enough, but I think that just like Justin Fields, the NFL told you how much they value Trenton Gill, and that's quite simply not that much.
Well, I would disagree with that first statement, but I'm not going to go down that road. Based upon, if I know you trying to go send him to my team, I'm going to lowball you.
Well, I don't know if that's a perfect segue. We've been mulling over the roster here for a while, and it's not even an official depth chart. We could talk about a certain someone who had a certain comment at their OTAs, and not for the Bears.
All right, go ahead and give it to us. Carl just want to fight with me. That's all. He just want to fight.
So this is a quote that I pulled. It should be pretty close to being word for word, but Justin Fields, ironically asked by a Chicago media person. I believe I heard the story that they were essentially asked to go out to Pittsburgh and ask Justin Fields essentially one of these questions. And the question was essentially, how did things end in Chicago and what his general thoughts on the trade were? And Justin Fields said, and I quote, "Shout out to Poles. We communicated to him through my agent, and I told him where I wanted to be, and this, Pittsburgh, was a place where I wanted to be. He, Ryan Poles, honored that, and I appreciate him for that, and I'm glad that he was able to put me in a spot where I wanted to be at." So the rabbit's out of the bag. It was, in fact, a team that Justin Fields wanted to go to. Of course, Justin Fields and Ryan Poles didn't sit down in front of a fireplace and work it out like that, but it was a gentleman's agreement for Justin Fields to go to a team that Justin Fields wanted to go to. Poles honored that and shipped him out to the Steelers. Obviously, no confirmation if there's a better offer, and the Bears turned that down, but I think we can assume that it was a combination of the both.
Well, from what I heard,
confirm the rumors.
The rumor I heard was the Raiders offered either a second or third for him. And in that same interview, Fields said that he wanted to go to Pittsburgh before they signed Russell Wilson, and he still wanted to go there after they signed him. So he even said that he knew once the Bears had the number 1 overall pick that he was going to be gone. So again, if I know that you're trying to trade this guy to me, why am I going to offer you a first if I know you're trying to trade him to me? If I'm Pittsburgh and I know you're trying to trade him to me, I'm not going to give you a high offer. And because Pole's trying to be a stand-up guy and send him where he wants to go, Pittsburgh, okay, well, Pittsburgh going to give me a 6. All right, I'll take a 6. But I tell you what, I'll take a 6 so long as if he plays 51% of the snaps, it can turn into a 4. All right, deal done. So I can understand why they only got a 6 for him, given those parameters.
And maybe Poles is strongly in the camp that he thinks that Justin Fields is good enough to beat out the quarterback, whoever the other quarterback would have been when he made the trade, when he was thinking of the trade. Maybe
No,
he thinks that it will boil down to being
Russell was already there. So yeah.
Russell was there, right? But I'm almost positive that the other quarterback that they had was there before he was traded to the Eagles.
No, he was already gone.
He was already gone.
Yeah, he was
when the actual trade was finalized. But I remember Justin Fields in the interview, he mentioned the other guy's name. I just can't think of his name. But he talked about saying it got a little dicey, thinking that Russell Wilson and Pickett was there. Thank you, Kenny Pickett. Pickett was there too. He's like, I don't know if this is going to happen now that both of those guys are there. I don't know. I didn't want to open a can of worms with this one, but it's just interesting to see. Either way, I think that Poles did well by Justin Fields. And I would like this to be the proverbial capstone to put an end on that, with Caleb Williams now coming in as our new quarterback with OTAs starting.
Well, seeing as though I have this love for Justin, let me put this capstone on it, as you say.
Hold on, sir. Hold on. Go for it.
Watching that interview, because I watched the interview a couple of times, and I seen the smile on Justin's face.
Yeah.
I seen the smile. He seemed happy. So I'm happy. I'm truly happy for him. I really am happy for him. If he's happy there, I'm happy for him, and I wish him truly the best. I think he's a great guy, great leader. Man, I wish him the best in football. I truly do.
He absolutely looked happier, man.
Agreed.
He absolutely looked happier, in my opinion. And maybe it's a situation where his mind is at ease. He doesn't have to worry about, are they going to replace me? Because he had essentially 2 years of it. The 2023, where they earned the first overall pick, and then the following year with a better quarterback prospect coming out. He had to deal with that. It's got to be a mental strain, But now
absolutely.
he gets to put his mind at ease and say, fuck it, I'm just going to be the best person I can be. Whatever happens, happens. If I'm a starting quarterback, great. And he's in a spot where he wanted to be. I have a feeling that he loves Mike Tomlin, because I remember that he was either Mike Tomlin or just the Steelers in general had a strong familiarity with the Ohio State program. So I think that combination is good for Justin. I truly am happy for him as well.
Yeah, he referred to him as Coach T. So yeah.
Great statement there, PJ. I'm with you 100% about Fields. Tomlin, and this was stated before the trade was made. Huge Justin Fields fan. We knew that before the trade was made. At least I heard it several occasions. But I also wanted to address Mo Bierman. Hey, Mo Bierman in the house. You always can use some more Bierman. Mo said, Poles might have made a big mistake. Now others will expect the same treatment. And my thought on that is, no. The other players now know that Poles is a trustworthy GM.
Yeah.
That's what they know for a fact now.
Yeah.
Fields confirmed the rumors that we heard prior to the trade. So that's my opinion.
I was listening to the radio when I grabbed my dinner. They were talking about how things like this are kind of rare. Not that, again, there was no fireplace sit down between Poles and Fields, but a lot of guys simply never get to meet the general manager. I'm sure the general manager of the Panthers is like this. There's no ever direct communication. He'll only ever talk with the agents, and it's always behind closed doors because they want to protect their egos, I guess. But I think that this speaks volumes to Poles, and I would say that it makes him look like a better GM. If I was a member of an NFL team and I needed to find a new job, I would love to play for the Bears, not because I'm a Bears fan, but Poles seems like a want
And that's what you want.
Scottish Bears.
Yeah, and that's pretty much where you want to be at. You want to be at that a place where you can feel like, okay, I can trust what they're telling me. I mean, I can trust what they're telling me, and if I can trust what they're telling me, I can roll with that.
Yes, absolutely. Plank, sounds like you're out of here, man. Thanks for watching. Peace out. Always a blast to have you. And Plank's one of those guys too. I see him everywhere in the Bears community.
Appreciate you, Plank. Appreciate you, brother.
Always.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully, this is a place. Well, DJ Moore. I don't want to have to say this after 1 year, but I believe. Let me put it that way. I believe DJ Moore will continue to show that this is no longer a place where wide receivers go to die, according to Mushin Muhammad. So, with that being said, I mean, the fact that DJ has said glowing things about, Caleb, one of the things that I liked hearing, and I was waiting to hear it, he said that one of the biggest differences between the two quarterbacks, being the previous quarterback and now Caleb, the anticipation throws. That as soon as he comes out of his break, the ball is there. That's a good sign. I mean, I like hearing that, so that's good. The fact that he also said today of the part about spreading the ball around, essential right for me right there. That's essential. Like I said earlier, best offense that I've seen in football period is when you never know who's going to get the ball, whether they're going to run it, pass it, who they're going to pass it to. You don't know. If you can keep a defense guessing, you're ahead of the game. And if that's what DJ Moore is seeing and what Shane Waldron is showing, man, more power to him.
It's a shame, PJ. I'm sorry, you are PJ. It's a shame that Dan couldn't be here because these comments are starting to turn the corner on Caleb Williams. This is awesome. This is great stuff.
I'm always about show me. I mean, because my biggest thing is this. Like I said before, I'm never going to be one, I just like a quarterback because of his charisma. Oh, I like this quarterback because he's the number one pick. No, you got to give me more than that to work with. I mean, you got to show me something. I mean, so when I'm hearing a wide receiver say, hey, the anticipatory throws are better, that's something I can cling to. Okay, you out there with him, I can cling on to that. Those things are important. I mean, and like I said, I mean, I always knew he was a good quarterback. I mean, I'm just still waiting to see how it translates to the NFL with competition. But I mean, I thought he was a good quarterback in college.
Yeah, and I'm glad that it only took a couple OTA videos to start to get you to turn the corner. It all boils down to I want to see football being played, and I hope that he gets some preseason action because the sooner the better.
That's a concern.
Not being able to play a lot.
Yeah, because like Foster and I would talk about last year, our starters didn't play a lot, and if that trend continues, that's concerning for me. It's like, hey, we complained that the Bears didn't look like they were ready for the first 4 weeks, and that's why they went 0-4. If that's the type of groundwork he is, well, I'm not going to play my guys a lot in the preseason for whatever reason. Are you building that continuity? You're not. So, yeah, I'm hoping that he can sit up there and play. I would say play Caleb a quarter the first game, the Hall of Fame game. Play him 2 quarters games, preseason games 2 and 3, and then play him a quarter in the last preseason game. If he can do all that, man, that's plenty of time to get Caleb as well as the rest of the offense some continuity, because that's what I'm waiting to see. Because if you don't have that continuity, we're going to start off slow again, in my opinion.
Yeah, I see a lot of people talking about how the Texans game will essentially have nothing from Caleb Williams just because why would you add the extra strain? I do think that you need to get some repetition in, and I would hope that now it's ESPN, I think, who's broadcasting the game. They will push to have Caleb Williams at least have a series in the Hall of Fame game. But I forgot who it was or where I heard this, but when the Bears played the Bills in the preseason the last time,
when he got whacked.
I'm not going to make a comment on that, but it was just that they played their starters longer, I think, because the Bills had such good depth. So if there's a game that I would like to see, because the Bengals and Chiefs obviously are good football teams on the preseason schedule as well, but if they feel like the Bills have good depth, maybe that's the team that he gets the most action for in that technically the first preseason game. It's the second for the Bears. But I agree with you. I think that the more snaps in the preseason would be better, but it's always going to be about balance. And you don't want to risk injury against a second, third string guy who's really trying his hardest to make a roster. I don't know. I just want to see football being played, man.
Well, my thought is, even if you're not even doing a lot of passing plays with him in that first game, I still want to see Caleb play at least the whole first quarter, just to get him acclimated to the NFL game. Hand the ball off. I don't care what you're doing. Get him out there, get him acclimated, get these linemen working together to where when that first game comes, I want to hit the ground running. That's my hope. Hit the ground running. Let's not, we're still trying to figure it out come the third regular season game. We're still trying to figure it out. No.
Hey, Derek.
What's up,
How's it
Derek
going,
Carter?
Derek? Yeah, I mean, I think PJ is speaking this very loud and clear. The old school thought of, oh, your team's good enough, no snaps, everything like that. I think that with a young team, the more repetitions, definitely the better. I don't know. Flu's so far up to this point in his preseason, nothing he's done has really frustrated me like that. But it'll be interesting to see with all the young guys how they balance that, for sure.
Well, you wasn't here last year. I think Foster and I, because Foster and Swifty went over to Indianapolis last year and saw them actually practice together. Then when the game came that Saturday, we didn't play our starters. And it's like I think it was the second preseason game if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
And
and
I'm like,
they're doing that again. The second, technically the third preseason
Bengals.
game for the Bears is the Bengals, and the Bengals will be doing a joint practice.
see, and see, I understand you're practicing, you're getting good reps in that practice with this other team,
Yeah.
but they're still not the game. I think you need that game reps. I mean, the whole speed of the game, the whole going through all the motions to where, hey, we only got this amount of time. We ain't going to be able to take no extra time for whatever reason. We got to have, a certain amount of time to get this next play off or else we get a penalty. You're not doing that in those practices. In those practices, yeah, you're working it, but you're not getting that game timing down. That's why I'm a proponent. Play the games. Get these guys used to that game time.
Yeah. Even for personal enjoyment, I would love to see more starting players playing football for the Bears.
Yeah, we talk it, but there's too much money involved, and they won't do it. That's my thought. They're just not going to risk it, man.
Yeah, it would be malpractice, in my opinion, to have your starting quarterback go against a guy from on the third, fourth string who's just trying to do anything he can, who maybe has a worse form or whatever you want to call it, as far as just doing anything to get to the quarterback. Wouldn't call it a dirty play, but I don't think that's a situation you want to put Caleb Williams into. I think if there's going to be any play of a starting quarterback into the second half, it'd probably be against the Bills. So I think that would be something that I would be looking forward to. And then they know exactly what they have and what they need to work on for the next 2 weeks before the season starts.
Well, if I can address here, Cliff Victoria, he said, is it worth the injury risk? Again, what I'm saying is, even if I got my guy in the first quarter and they got their second string in the first quarter still, okay, I'm not going to put him in a drop back quarterback or shotgun situation. Man, let's work on your under the center snaps. That's what I'm going to do right now. You know what I'm saying? I would get you 3 straight plays underneath the center, hand the ball off, just so you can get that experience. But the point I'm making, I'm still trying to get him some experience. I want him to get some game time experience that's going to help him in the long run.
Yeah, you have to rely on the coaches to try and determine if their players are ready or not. And I hope that it all shakes out because we all know who's going to be the starting quarterback week 1 in Chicago against the Tennessee Titans. I don't think there's any questions whatsoever.
Oh, yeah.
Well, guys, we're going on 2 hours. Is there anything else that you think you'd want to cover or anything you think we missed regarding OTAs? Anything?
Now, what is the schedule for the remaining OTAs, if any, as well as mandatory minicamp? Do we have that at all?
I can find that for you. I think that obviously OTAs are going to continue into next week. Hopefully they're having Monday off for Memorial Day.
Yeah. Appreciate you, Iceberg Slim.
Yeah, there's been a good turnout in chat and a lot of guys who we've gotten a couple new chatters that I haven't seen before. Mark Kazak had mentioned something that I guess we can discuss while I've got this on the screen. He mentions that he thinks that Austin Reed, the UDFA quarterback that the Bears signed, he thinks that he'll make the 53-man roster. I don't know if that's something you guys think is worth talking about or what you think of that.
I'm going to tell you what I'm sorry for Foster. You got something that I can go after you.
Go ahead.
I was watching Greg Gabriel, and he brought up a good point. He said the new rule, you can bring your practice squad quarterback up all year and put him as your third quarterback, but he won't be able to play unless the first 2 go down. I think that's where Austin Reed may be. So he won't technically be on the 53-man roster, but he would be like on the practice squad, but brought up every week as the third quarterback.
Walt,
As the
Walt's in
third
the house,
quarterback?
man. What's up, Walt? Sorry.
Yeah, I think he has surpassed Brett Rippon. Yeah.
Man, I just don't.
What's up, Walt? Good to see you, my man.
What way they're going to go there?
I'm sorry, what you say?
I just said I can't. I'm lost on this one with the quarterbacks. Just because I know Rippon it's a football family, man. I just don't know. I don't know which way they're going to go there. I don't know which way they're going to go with number 2.
Well, he was at a lower college playing quarterback. Then he went to Western Kentucky Division I and did pretty well there. So I just think he'll be the guy on the practice squad who would bring up every week.
Yeah, so as Walt said in the chat, the OTA offseason workouts are, of course, between May 20th and 21st, May 23rd, and then they'll continue next week on May 28th, 29th, and the 31st. And then there's a break until the mandatory minicamp starts on June 4th through 6th.
Okay. Thank you, Walt. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, Walt, I don't want to get too personal on the stream. I don't know how much longer we'll be going, but just keep your DMs open. I'm going to send you a message after the stream. It's nice to see you in chat. Again, so as far as what we're looking for, we'd hope that the mandatory minicamp would have, obviously, everyone. So that'll hopefully be, again, June 4th through 6th is when we'll figure out where what's going on, rather, with Nate Davis, everyone else who may have missed, Aviles Jones Jr. I would hope that you'd have a 100% turnout rate at that point. But yeah, guys, I don't know if there's anything else maybe that you're thinking would be worth covering. I don't know what you guys are understanding what's going on, but what I'm alluding to.
No, I get it, dude. I just going to say I'm out of it, you guys. I'm so tired tonight. I can't even function right to think of anything else right now. And then there's a couple other things going on too. So
yeah. You know what, guys? I think now's an appropriate time to call it. Chat has been awesome as always. I don't know if we want to give everyone a full send-off. Again, starting with Walt. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, Doug Van Dorn, thanks for joining us. Mark Kazak, Cliff Victoria, Walt is in the huddle, Chicago, CB Sickles, Scottish Bear, Iceberg Slim,
Derek Carter,
AC Adam.
Back at him, baby.
Derek Carter is a new name that I have not been familiar with, so welcome, Derek.
Antmus, Leo Factor 1.
Scottish Bear.
Yes.
Leo Factor.
Jay
Grizz.
Jay Grizz.
Plank.
J2K, the Rolodex.
Mayhem. Yeah, Mo Beerman.
There's an
you guys in the chat. We truly appreciate you guys joining us. Thank you very much.
Cliff Victoria.
Cliff Victoria, who's that?
Cliff is the man
here every step of the way, man.
The man with the Lene.
Same breath, Mark Kazak here each and every time.
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah,
do we want to shout out Don? Do we want to shout out Don Burr?
Don Burr.
We just did.
Don Burr.
I wanted to mess with him. I forgot because he always tells me to go drink a damn Foster's every time I run into that dude, man. He's all over the place.
You got to get a can of that on tap, so just be ready for him. Just crack that thing open.
Yeah.
Ryan Gilmore.
I am going to do that.
Guys, we truly appreciate each and every one of you in the J2K. We appreciate all you guys. We really do appreciate your support, hanging out with us, man, spending your evening with us. Man, thank you guys. Did I see PZ? What's up, PZ?
There's a Zeke TV in here too. He just chatted. I haven't seen Zeke in here in chat before. What's going on?
So yeah, guys.
Dan's Shorty's not here, so shit happens good when he's not around.
Well, Zeke's comment says, as much as our offensive line be hurt, I believe today is going to be an example of what Caleb is going to go through when injuries start happening. Same issue Justin was having. I don't know. I think that these days happen, and just because he had a bad day in OTAs, I don't think that that's an indictment on Caleb Williams whatsoever. I think more training camp is when that stuff will start to matter, and it'll leak into the preseason if it becomes a real issue. But we have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have some growing pains being a rookie quarterback. You're gonna have some growing pains. I mean, just a fact of life. I mean, it's just how you respond to it, how quickly you learn from it, and whether or not the coaches believe in him enough to have him to still throw the ball, or they're going to take the ball out of his hands and just have him hand it off. I mean, that's a key factor.
Terry Bradshaw was almost done in Pittsburgh, dude.
Yep.
Almost done.
Yep.
Guy who won 4 Super Bowls and is just an underrated QB, but I mean, he was almost done in Pittsburgh. Well,
until he started winning, right?
Well, until he started. There's a lot of stories because they used to just say the big stupid hillbilly. I'm just saying because it's been said. He even said it. So,
well, as a youngster, a lot of my Terry Bradshaw consumption has been through the Fox pregame. He kept the big stupid hillbilly vibe. He embraced it, and he's a great personality. I think that he said that he's going to be either starting on his way out of Fox or starting to turn it down a little bit. I know that they're trying to integrate Gronk more, but Terry Bradshaw's a great guy.
Yeah,
he was the one who handed the NFC Championship trophy to Urlacher, and I'll always remember that.
Yeah,
Good
stuff there. Well, guys, anything else you think you want to cap off the stream with, or you think we're good?
Well, again, my condolences to C Sharp's family. Man, my prayers and thoughts are with you guys, as well as the Nomad Network, because I know he's a big part of that network. So you guys are in my thoughts and prayers, and wishing you Godspeed, and may it comfort you guys' hearts.
Yeah, peace and love. Peace and love to everyone, Walt, you included. Like I said, please keep your DMs open. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to run the outro. We should be back next week with Dan, I would hope. We'll see how that shakes out. But if not, I don't think we need him. I think we did just fine, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let me address that. For those of you who wasn't here earlier. Shorty got some things going on with his family. So if you want to expound upon that when he gets back, he can. But yeah, that's why he's not here tonight. Plus, him being part of his job had to do some traveling for the last couple of weeks. So yeah, if you want to address it next week, he will.
Yeah, definitely. We'll look forward to seeing him.
Family, because it's quality time that he needs to spend with them. Right?
Absolutely, spend time with your family.
Yeah, PJ made a comment when he was talking about multi-million-dollar athletes on the Bears choosing to not play football, but this is a little bit closer to home. So absolutely, that's the right vibe. Guys, I'm going to run the outro. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Let's get those claws up in the chat. FGB, I'll throw it up on the screen. Until next time, guys, bear down.
Bear down, fellas.
Stay safe, everybody. Bear down.